Hello, Internet. This is Chase Wassenaar, and welcome to the Rough Drafts Competes Journey of Wrestling League. It is our last weekly before the last pay-per-view of Season 1. I know it hurts me too, folks at home, but if you've been following all along the way, it could not be closer, both in terms of the overall standings and this particular set of weeklies. And I cannot wait to get into tonight's show with my good pal and co-host, Xander. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing pretty fantastic, ready to get some wrestling underway.
Gotta do that wrestling. And what a wrestling it has been. If you're looking at the overall standings, of course, you are still very much in the lead, Xander, at 9.5 points. I am 1 point behind you. Eduardo making a push to try to overtake me in second place. Very possible if he wins out from here. And he is currently winning in this set of weeklies. He has 9.75 points so far. You and I are tied at 9.5. And Walter, he is at 8.75, but it's a strong 8.75, I think that he's had some story stuff that's gone really well and a couple roles that have really not. But I think it's safe to say you and I have enjoyed what he's been putting out there recently.
No, yeah, listen, as much as I will knock Walter for failing to get on the board in any real meaningful way, the way he has put cards together, especially the last 2 months, in terms of how he pushes narrative, finding unique ways to utilize the segment, creative ideas that I get to, then go steal and try and min-max a little more. But I love what he's been putting out. All joking aside, he's got some really good stuff. He gets that narrative, champion title for now.
Mm-hmm.
Though, of course, I think all of us have had our moments, but he's definitely the one that is maintained it, kept it cohesive, keeps it making sense. Maybe doesn't forget, certain people in certain factions and whatnot. um, and as much as I'm about to absolutely roast his card, I do want to highlight that I do like what he's been putting out.
Yeah, I could not agree more. I'm excited. There's one segment on this card that I absolutely popped off for when he put it together. And I cannot wait to share it and the rest of this card with you. So let's jump in to the SWA Prime Time. The Stanford Wrestling Alliance weekly begins with Devontae Harrell versus Kenji Saber. Now, this match is for the number one contendership for the Theodore Vincent Heritage title. So, whoever wins this match will be going up against Cobra Gaston at the pay-per-view. These two have never wrestled each other before in the ring, but they both want their shot on the belt, right? You look at Devontae Harrell. He is a member of Prodigious. He has really been on the rise recently, ever since the kind of face turn that faction did. He seems to have found his place in this company. Kenji Saber, meanwhile, of course, famously having betrayed Eternum to join Made in Japan, seems to have found his place within that faction, has also had some really strong moments. The 19-year-old with a bright future ahead of him and a legacy to live up to. And I've been told that Cobra Gaston is going to be the guest announcer for this episode. Obviously, we're talking the in-ring announcer and not our lovely broadcast here. So Cobra getting a first-hand look at the match in front of us. Who do you think is going to win here, Xander?
Yeah, there is a singular answer present here. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
2 options, 4 names, 1 guy can win. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
that is Mr. Devontae Harrell with Tyson Morriso standing by him.
Mm-hmm.
It's been clear I've been a fan of this guy. I've been a fan of everything Tyson Morriso and his crew have put together. But more importantly, Kenji Saber is a clown.
Wow.
Uh, Kenji Saber is a guy who comes out here with the last name, okay, Kenji Katana rather.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I was discussing Japanese, but he could have been Kenji Katana, and instead he chooses like a heavy German curved sword, right? Does that make any sense to you? I don't think so. So due to the fact that he absolutely bombed his opportunity to have the most memorable name in Walter's entire promotion, um, there's a 0% chance I'm rooting for him here. I hope he goes to 2-5. He had a win recently. He's not getting one against Devontae Harrell tonight.
Well, I got to tell you, Cobra Gaston disagrees with you. The entire time he's on his cast, he is shit talking Devontae Harrell. You know, maybe he would be the number one contender if he was willing to put in the work like I did. If he was willing to do whatever it takes to be a champion like I do. You know, would Devontae Harrell be willing to betray his family and take out the weakness in him in order to win? I don't think so. And he
I
says
mean, at
that
least
with
Devontae Harrell is wrestling someone within 50 popularity of him. Same cannot be said for many of Cobra's matches. All right, so
look. I'm just telling you what
that's a bunch
Cobra
of
said.
yapping.
That's Cobra.
Okay,
Look, I'm not here
sure.
to argue with Cobra Gaston. Devontae Harrell wins the argument by winning the match.
That's what I'm talking about.
It's
That's
just
what I'm
important
talking
to
about.
know how proud of himself Cobra Gaston is on all the heel stuff that he has done over the years. He is very proud of the man that he has become, and we will see if that is enough to hold off the surging Devontae Harrell, who just got a 4.5 star win here thanks to working with the crowd. Starts a feud not just with Kenji Sabre and Devontae Harrell, but between Prodigy and Made in Japan.
Sabers aren't made in Japan. Just saying. So weird thing there from Kenji.
I mean,
Maybe
Kenjis
he
aren't
should.
made in France, though. So, I mean, you know, we all contain multitudes, I guess is what I'm saying. You don't know. Maybe he has like a French dad and a Japanese mom. You
I
don't
mean,
know.
it's like a German sword though, so that even still,
I feel like
I mean,
sabers were more than just like,
well, that's literally where the word comes from.
sure,
So
that is fair. Okay, fine.
so
J-
I'm just saying. All
we'll,
right.
we'll have to get into the lineage of Kenji Saber's name some
He's
other
in
time,
Made in
but
Japan. I'm just saying he is very much about Japan, and his last name is not Katana. He is a failure, and tonight re-demonstrated that because Devontae Harrell's a winner, and I don't care how much Cobra wants to smack talk. I watched Cobra beat a guy that was like 650 popularity in one of his matches. Is like, okay, great, you're doing fantastic, buddy. Enjoy your 300 popularity discrepancy. Devontae Harrell, just smack him in the mouth, okay? Walter, get that match together and let this man absolutely steamroll, little Cobra Gaston. That's all I'm saying, okay? Fans will love it. 6-star match right there. Boom.
well, we will certainly have to wait and see here what Devontae has in store for us at that match. But for now, we move on to a 3v3 match. Dominatus Tenebris, specifically Cairo, Oliver, Joey Stone, and Christopher Devlin teaming up against the lads, Matt Militant and Sean Torres from Down Under, as well as Patty Gilman. You know, and Devlin kind of just goes backstage. He's like, look, we need to warm up before Winter Zone, right? I don't believe that either you nor me are going to lose to Prodigy of all people. But you know what? We should put in just a little bit of extra effort to make sure, right? We're not going to go down because we're rusty. We're not going to go down because we have lost our edge. We're going to do what it takes so that we all come back with a title after this pay-per-view, after Winter Zone. And you know, when Hollywood Bound says, "Yeah, you know, we're down for that, right? We need to maintain our edge. We're looking for a fight. You tell us where you want us, boss." And Down Under, you know, happen to be walking by, as is so often the case in SWA primetime, and they're like, you know, we'd love to take that challenge. After all, we were the original men's tag belt holders. We still believe we deserve an opportunity to take that title for you once you're done with Prodigious, and we're happy to prove it tonight. And Devlin just kind of looks at him, you know, that kind of like, sure, buddy. And he goes, okay, you'll do, I guess. Here's the match. So, who do you think is getting the nod tonight?
Yeah, it's gonna be Dominatus Tenebris taking the win home. It's not even close.
It would be wild if it wasn't, right? I think we could
Yeah.
all agree. Now, this does get us a rejuvenation of a Dominatus Tenebris versus the Lads feud. We love a faction feud. We love a callback to a faction feud. And Dominatus Tenebris striking first blood here in this feud with a very nice victory for themselves.
Big PogChamp.
Yeah. We move on to the Killers and AR-60. These two tag teams hate each other. You know, that has been so clear for so long at this point, right? And we saw just last week, you know, a backstage attack against AR-60. It is, you know, it clearly, you know, Chort and the Killers have the number one contendership for the trios title right now. But AR-60 say, look, we've got a trios partner in our back pocket that we believe will take us over the top. And so, you know, the Killers, who are not going to back down from an opportunity to fight against AR-60, their former brethren in Eternum before they left for Chort, of course, says, you know what? Okay. If you beat us tonight, you can take you two sorry asses, add in whichever loser you think makes your trio work, and you can compete in the trio spot with us. It'll be a triple threat. But you have to beat us first, and that's not going to happen. So that's our match here. AR-60, you know, they're here, the remnants of Eternum, so to speak, trying to make their mark and trying to earn their way into this Trios Belt Championship at Winter Zone. But can they get past the Killers to do so, Xander?
Absolutely. Absolutely they can. AR-60 dropkick lines, everything mean, making the Killers, you know, the Killers not look like the heels that they should be. And it's AR-60 putting the hurt on them.
Man, I love your optimism. I appreciate it in moments like this because you are operating under the assumption that this is going to be a fair fight.
Oh, unlucky.
This is not a fair fight. This is a distraction from the one man who loves fucking over former Eternum people more than anyone else. Ethan Wild is going to make sure the Killers walk away with a victory tonight, and AR-60 is not going to have a shot at the championship. And when he comes out and costs them the victory, he walks away cackling. Just the pure Ethan Wild cackle, satisfied that he ruined his former faction mate's opportunities once again. I mean, I don't know what you expected from Ethan Wild. That's just the way Chort rolls.
Yeah. Ethan Wild's trash.
Oh no. Well, you know what? You're going to enjoy this next segment. And I think before I click on this button, we all agree there is only one name that is going to show up on this segment, and it is Ethan Wilds, okay? None of us see the other name here because there is as Ethan Wild walks backstage, he is attacked by a mysterious man in a mask. The attacker hits him once, knocks him down to the ground, doesn't follow up with anything, but drops a note on his chest that we see Ethan Wild pick up, open up, and it just says, "I'll see you in the ring later, bitch."
Yes, I love this segment. This is a great segment. Fantastic. Masked attacker popping off 4.75 stars. Well deserved, well earned. My new favorite segment on this card.
It's a great segment, and I think given everything you just said about Ethan Wild, him getting cross-checked backstage is quite nice. Again, we have no idea who it was. This man was wearing a black mask, black sweats all the way down. No part of him is visible. There is no way of knowing who this man could be. So it'll be very interesting to see that reveal happen later tonight. But we move on to a match between Telenovela and Trixie Albright and Aiko Haruka. And you might be wondering, Chase, these are the four women who are going to be vying for the Mildred S. Robinson Cup that Maester Gomez currently holds. Why are they fighting in this 2v2 right before the pay-per-view? And at the end of the day, Trixie and Aiko have a very legitimate concern, right? You know, yes, Consequencia is fighting on her own as an individual, but she and Maester Gomez go way back as members of Telenovela, right? They have fought together in the tag division. They have built a genuine friendship. And sure, Maester seemed a little bit frustrated. The Consequencia helped her cheat to win a match that Maester believed she was going to win straight up anyway. But they still have enough teamwork and camaraderie there that Trixie and Aiko are doing some maths, right? And if they aren't careful, this could become a 1v1v2 situation, right? That's the danger here, is that it ends up being Consequencia and Maester Gomez knocking both of them out and then letting the match be against each other. So this whole match here is really Trixie Albright and Aiko Haruka trying to figure out if they have any chemistry together, right? If telenovela forces them into what is essentially a 2v2 situation, do they have enough chemistry to even the odds? And that's why we're here. We're here to see if Trixie and Aiko can come together to beat telenovela tonight. So, Xander, who do you think gets the win?
I think that as interesting as it would be, and I say interesting, for Trixie and Aiko to win, it's gonna be telenovela absolutely brutalizing them. Trixie sucks. Who cares?
Wow.
Enter hometown name here is an awful location. Should have never even had a match there.
First of all, it's insert hometown here. Thank you very much.
Insert hometown here. I get it wrong every time because who cares? And I'm gonna continue to get it wrong because once again, who cares? That place sucks. And the fact that Aiko is like, wrestle with Trixie, I don't understand why Aiko would bring herself down to this like abysmal level. Aiko could actually be a good wrestler. And yet here she is with Trixie. So yeah, I think telenovela just committed an atrocity here in the ring because Trixie had no business being in the ring with them.
Well, look, I do agree with the general thesis statement that it is going to be very difficult to beat telenovela in this match. I do believe if you're Trixie or Aiko, you would rather have somebody trying to come to your aid if telenovela decides to 2v1 you than having nobody to your aid. So I disagree strategically, but it is telenovela that gets the win. It is indeed the tag that has worked together in the past, knows how to win a match like this, and I believe Maestra gets the pin on Trixie Albright. So
I just got to say that you said you agreed with my thesis about the match being difficult. I want to go back. My thesis was that Trixie Albright sucks, okay?
And
that was my thesis.
Yeah, and she's the one who got pinned. I don't disagree that she's struggling. But if you're Aiko and it's, Trixie is even half a wrestler, that's better than being entirely isolated and having to go 1v2v1.
I don't know. That's one of those moments in solo queue where you just tell them to like AFK because getting the gold income and having that opportunity by yourself is actually better. So I disagree.
Well, Aiko Haruka has made her call. It was worth a shot. I do think towards the end of this match, they started showing a couple signs of life here. But the thing to watch out for, right, is that telenovela, the belt gets handed over. Theoretically, it's going from Consequencia to Maester Gomez as the ref hands it over so the two can celebrate together. But Consequencia is just a little bit slow to pass the belt over to Maester. It just holds the belt a little bit longer than you would expect before finally handing it off to her tag partner and lifting the hand up together so the two can celebrate their victory. So, perhaps Consequencia is not going to hold back if she sees an opportunity for singles greatness. But
okay.
We move on. Wesley Lee Morris versus Connor Creedon, right? This is a highlighting 1v1 dynamic from the trios belt match we're going to have at Winter Zone, right? Wesley Lee Morris is the monster of short. He's going to be teaming up with the Killers to try to take that belt from Neon Lads. I know how you feel about the Neon Lads. Connor Creedon.
You mean Neon Stein?
Connor Creedon has done relatively well as a singles performer at times. He struggled a little bit recently, mostly because he's been focusing on managing and maintaining the kind of core of that Neon Lads duo that is now teamed up to become trios champions. So the question is, do you believe that Connor Creighton has what it takes to take down the monster that is Wesley Lee Morris?
Wesley Lee Morris could be at 100% fatigue, and I would still choose him to beat Connor Creighton. Wesley Lee Morris could be 150% fatigue, and I would choose him to beat Connor Creighton. Connor Creighton is exactly what his last name is. He's a Cretan. Okay, he doesn't belong in wrestling. The neon sign manager making sure that the sign stays on. Really, that's all he's good for. Is kind of keeping them all on the same page. And without, I guess, him doing that, they'd just be continuing to drool all over the mat. So, he has. And to simplify things, he sucks. Wesley Lee Morris is better. Wesley Lee wins, especially in solos.
You know what? You're absolutely right. This is a beat down of a match. It is beating the ever living piss out of Connor Creighton 1, 2, 3, center of the ring. It's not close.
I love it. This is a great match. Great outcome. Great job, Walter.
Yeah, and it's a 5-star match. No holy shit moment. You did not give him a holy shit moment here, which is a little surprising.
Yeah, I mean, I owe him one or two, but let's be real. The fact that the Killas beat AR-60, which of all of the matches I've wanted to see a win here, that might be tied with this one, to be fair. So I owe Walter one. I'll say I owe Walter one.
That's fair. I'll let you settle up that debt at a later point in time. The key here, the broadcasters in the arena point out that with such a dominant performance from Wesley Lee Morris, the trios belt match looks terrifying. And is it possible that the faction chart will be draped in gold with everyone holding a title by the end of Winter Zone? It is very much in play. If this 1v1 dynamic has any indication of what we can expect from the Chort versus Neon Lads trios match. But we move on to Prodigy versus Made in Japan. And Prodigy, they look at Dominus Tenebris earlier tonight and go, look, if they're getting a warm-up match, we're getting a warm-up match. There's no way we're going to let Dominus Tenebris outshine us. And, they went for some people, don't get me wrong, Down Under, they're a solid tag team. They were once great, but they've been on quite the losing streak recently. We're going to really push ourselves. And you're going to notice a name in here, Heizo Ogawa, the Intercontinental Champion, a man who has not lost in the entirety of his time in the Stamford Wrestling Alliance. This man does not lose, and he is here in the ring tonight alongside Shohei Hirano and Kenzo Nai, two other very talented individual performers in their own right, as Tyler Dynamite, D'Angelo Starr, and Jordan Wolfe try to do their best to get themselves in the best possible position to win their matches against Dominus Tenebris at Winter Zone. So the question is, Xander, does Prodigy have what it takes to take down such a star-studded lineup from Made in Japan, or is this perhaps a bridge too far for Prodigy to handle?
A bridge too far from Made in Japan.
Heizo Ogawa was the undefeated Intercontinental Champion. Never lost.
Very cool guy. Sure. Heizo as an individual in a solo match, terrifying. This is the faction that allowed a guy to be named Kenji Saber to join them. Okay? This is a faction, all right, is against Prodigy, the prodigious one, Moriso's chosen few. Okay? This is Prodigy all day. Heizo, I'm sure, looks phenomenal in this match. I will give him individually some respect. Hirano and Nai can go back to where they belong, okay, which is irrelevance, and they're going to lose to Prodigy today.
Man, that is some harsh words for Shohei Hirano and Kenzo Nai, both of whom, even as the face announcer here, I have found some affection for over time. But you know what? You're right. This is a Prodigy victory. Heizo Ogawa looks great in this match. He doesn't enter non-belt matches very often. But at the end of the day, he is stuck on the sidelines as Tyler Dynamite pins Shohei Hirano for the win. And you remember a while back when the Empress was forced to take a loss in a multi-woman match because Talia Adler got pinned, and you saw the fury of her in that moment. Heizu Ogawa, it is the quiet fury, right? You know, that kind of like that fury where it is so much scarier that they're not saying anything at all than anything they could possibly be saying to you. That is
100%.
Heizu Ogawa in this moment. He is furious, and he is storming off backstage without saying a word to any of his teammates, to any of his managers. He is done. And you see Shohei Hirano does like the cartoon gulp, like, oh God, this is gonna be a problem for me.
So it's like that scene from The Devil Wears Prada where she purses her lips, right? You know, and that just that's the end of the world.
Yeah, very
Yep.
similar
Got
vibe.
Got it.
And rightfully so. Look, you don't make Heizo Ogawa take an L. He doesn't take L's. That's kind of his whole thing. But here we stand, and we do move on.
Also, thank you for letting me make that reference. We just rewatched that movie.
It's a great movie. It's a great movie.
It's a great movie.
We move on to the segment I've been most looking forward to. Because Ethan Wilde brings the note that was left on his chest backstage, comes to the ring looking for his masked attacker. He is screaming into the mic, I got your fucking note. Who fucking dares to attack me that way? He is deranged. He is angry. There's no music that plays, but a man in a black mask, sweatshirt, pants walks down, and he enters the ring. You can see Ethan Wilde so angry. He's breathing heavily. He is so worked up. And Kyle Lucha pulls the ski mask off his head to Ethan Wilde's shock. And he gets on the mic and he says, you know, Ethan, it's kind of rich that you talk about being treated unfairly by the company from someone like you who would treat your former faction so unfairly. I mean, look, maybe you have a problem with Dan, and yeah, I get it. He didn't clap you on the back. He didn't congratulate you. He didn't fight in multi-man matches alongside you. He didn't give you the support you were looking for and the kudos that you deserved. I get it. But none of the rest of us did anything to you. We could have just shaken hands and moved on, right? We get it. You wanted people who would be more supportive. You moved on to do something else. You could have just walked away, Ethan. You could have moved on. But you didn't. You go on and on about how other champions are treated so much better than you. Well, why do you think Drew King was allowed to come out here and challenge you for that belt after Craig Opley has already been given the opportunity to challenge for that belt? You know, it's a fun fact, Ethan. You've never had to defend your belt in a multi-man match. Every other champion in this company has had to do it, except you. You've never had to defend that belt against more than one person. And if you count Daniel cashing in on you, that's fucking weak, and you know it. You asked to be treated like all the other champions of this company, despite how you have treated the people who should have been closest to you, who did nothing to you. Well, guess what? Management has decided to treat you like everyone else. So at Winter Zone, it's not just Ethan Wilde versus Craig Opley. It's not Ethan Wilde versus Craig Opley versus Drew King. It's Ethan Wilde versus Craig Opley versus Drew King versus Kyle Lucha inside a steel cage match. So you can either take your beating like a man, or you can run away like the coward that I know you are. And that is when Kyle Lucha's music hits. The two stare each other down in the ring with just this animosity, this hatred that these two men now share for each other. Before we transition into an event package. But before we talk about that event package, what do you think of the segment?
I think it's a great segment. I love it. I mean, I'll be honest. When we were putting together the Glory of Legends card for tonight, this is one I looked at, and now after seeing the masked attacker into this demand title shot segment, I am a big fan. I think there's a lot of great ways to play with this, and I think Walter once again has innovated and found something really cool.
Yeah. Well, and not only from a mechanic perspective, Kyle Lucha to me with this segment turns from a guy who was like generically good had a couple good matches, lost a lot of other
For
matches.
sure.
But now I am fascinated to see where Kyle Lucha, the character, goes, right? Because
No, 100%.
everything you said about
story.
Ethan Wilde is correct.
Yeah.
And at some point, someone needed to remind Ethan there was one guy you thought was an asshole, and there are about 8 people that you decided to make it their problem. So here we go. And I'm glad that Kyle Lucha got this match. And I know the game did not allow Walter's original plan to go through, but as we look at the event package for Winter Zone, there are a lot of matches. I mean, I'm not at all surprised that this is a 5-star event package. This card is a banger after banger. We've got that 4-way steel cage match we just talked about. Ethan Wilde, Craig Opley, Drew King, Kyle Lucha. We've got a 4-way dance for the Mildred S. Robinson Cup. Maester Gomez, Consequencia, Aiko Haruka, and Trixie Albright. Prodigious versus Hollywood Bound in a ladder match. A street fight between Neon Lads and Short for the Trios belt. Cobra Gaston versus Devontae Harrell, as per the results of tonight's match. Tyler Dynamite versus Christopher Devlin. The return of the brass ring. I don't know how that brass ring match is going to go. I just know it's happening. Walter's made it very clear the brass ring is up for grabs for whoever is willing to do what it takes to grab it. And of course, we cannot forget the match that is closing out tonight. The Empress said that whoever she's going to challenge at the pay-per-view needs to prove themselves in a battle royale. She threw down the gauntlet in her champion package last week. And here is that battle royale. The winner of this match will challenge Empress Kabuki for the women's championship at Winter Zone. It is 11 wrestlers. Everyone in the women's competition that is not already in a match. And I mean, it's a star-studded group here. Obviously, you look at Brooklyn Cambriel, the supreme deity, someone I know you have a great deal of affection for. Jessie Mallory has done some incredible work recently. Raven, of course, the glorified badass. Mei Fukushima's had her moments. Amanda Ace, hungry for it. And oh boy, could she use a win, given where her current morale is
at. Yep.
But I will say, we have Angelina Cardinal written down, but it is unclear whether she is going to be able to make it to this match, because as we saw last week, her car blew up. And as far as we know, she was inside it the last time we heard.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, if just because forgotten that part. So
yeah. The feed cut out for a bit, and then the explosion happened. So we don't know what happened in those few seconds, but no one has heard from her. No one has seen her. So we have no idea whether she's actually going to be here. And I'll tell you right now, Psycho Sahan is counting on her not being here, given the bomb that she dropped literally and figuratively between the two of them. So the question is, Xander, who is getting the win tonight?
Yeah, I mean, listen, narratively, if Angelina returned and came back and won the match, that would be cool. Very Walter thing to do. But unfortunately, for my prediction tonight, there's only one person I'm allowed to root for. There's only one person I want to root for. And that is Brooklyn Cambriel demolishing everybody in this Battle Royale match. Again, just throwing the kicks, the clotheslines, launching people out of the ring, maybe one or two, headbutts. Okay. I want to see some aggressive Brooklyn style wrestling tonight. And I'll be a bit disappointed if she isn't the winner. And if not her, then it better be the Angelina Cardinal return from death to come in and just put the beat down on the Psycho Hana and then end up winning the whole thing. Those are the only two options that I'll be. One's acceptable. The other one would be phenomenal.
Well, look, I'm going to tell you a little bit of a story in this match before I click on the button. Because, spoiler alert, while Psycho Sahana comes out towards the end, Angelina Cardinal does come out last. This is the first time we have proof that she survived the attack. The fans pop off hard. And the two of them, As soon as Angelina sees Psycho, it is on fucking sight. They immediately clash with each other. They brawl ferociously until they are both at the top rope. They are wailing on each other, and they both flip over the side, eliminating each other just in pure rage and hatred.
Okay.
So it is not
Okay, I'm
Angela
behind that.
Cardinal winning this match. It
Okay.
is Brooklyn Cambriel who is
Damn
winning.
right. Well done, Walter.
What
This
in
match
the...
deserves so much more than that.
Wow.
Don't care. Yeah, there's a couple of low, like 2 stars in there, but doesn't matter.
It's a
That match
negative
deserved
effect for the Battle
more.
Royale.
And a negative effect. Yep.
Man, the game's wrong. I don't know what to tell you. The game's wrong.
Yep.
That's a great
Game's wrong.
story. I love the match.
We
I
agree.
love everything that was built. The Angelina Cardinal, I do think it's more interesting for her and Psycho to continue to go at it than to jump right back into the title picture. Brooklyn Cambriel absolutely deserves her shot. I love everything that just happened here. The game is wrong, and I'm sorry about that, Walter. You get 4.25 stars. And the satisfaction of the narrative champion title being incredibly justified by what we just saw. That was a great card.
Yep. Gonna agree. There is no one else on that level right now, and well done.
Well, I'm going to try to do my best in just a moment here, though I will say, you could have given him one holy shit moment, Xander. A little harsh.
I owe him one. Argue. You know what? I'll even say I owe him 2. He had some good stuff tonight that I liked and agreed with. So I owe him 2. I'll try and hook him back up at the.
Yeah, you can get back in the devs DMs and see what we can do. But for now, we move on. Magically enhanced wrestling. It was looking so great for us after week 1. Week 2, we took a little bit of a step back in terms of hype. You and I, of course, we're still tied right now, but Eduardo is the one who has set himself apart in the lead. And so this is my attempt to catch back up, take the lead, or at the very least split some points with him. We've got a lot of Total War feuds being explored here. A few different individual moments that have been building in the background for a while. We have the debut of Throne of Bones, who we saw come together last week. Just a lot of fun stuff ahead of us at Wild Magic tonight. So let's hop on into it. And we start with a match between Hylian Cross and Unlimited. Now, Evan Zane from Unlimited and Gerudo from Hylian Cross have been feuding for a while now. But this is the first time that these two tag teams have fought as part of a feud. It's always been kind of individual moments or multi-team matches in which it wasn't necessarily the two of them clashing head to head. But now we're in a position where the Western Watch and the Southern Sentries have been fighting back and forth repeatedly, especially in the tag division. The Southern Sentries won the first feud these two had back in March, thanks to Alpha Jackson and Victor Magnus taking down top members of the Western Watch. And so far, it's still looking rough for the Western Watch. We knew it would be tough because they're fighting a two-front war when you consider what Righteous Retribution and El Rey Loco is trying to do in dismantling the faction's sheer existence. But it's been... outside of Magic Missiles defeating Judgment Day a couple weeks ago, the Southern Sentries have dominated this feud, including Unlimited losing a match to Savage Vengeance earlier this month. They have a lot to prove right now. Bryson and Evan, they both had an okay performance at the Arcane Artificer tournament, but they need to prove themselves as a tag team after losing 5 times in a row. Meanwhile, Hylian Cross, they are on the rise. Both of their individual members did surprisingly well at the Arcane Artificer tournament. They were not high-seeded wrestlers, but they both pulled off upsets in the first round. It's one of those things where you know that Hylian Cross want to do everything they can to continue to push themselves forward, not just in this faction feud, because the last thing you want to do is drop a match to a tag team that Savage Vengeance already beat, but also prove themselves as a number 1 title contender to go up against Hall of Ashes heading into the new year. So that's the question, Xander. Does Hylian Cross prove themselves tonight, or does Unlimited finally bounce back and secure a much-needed victory for the Western Watch in this faction feud?
Man, I feel like you're here to give that bounce back win, but I want to see Garudo crush these dorks. All right, I really want to see him put that trash can around Evan Zane and just end the night on a dub. So I'm rooting for Hylian Cross.
Listen, I get where you're coming from on it. And in the long run, Garuda's going to be the one laughing, I believe.
Okay.
But for now, it's not an interesting faction feud if the Southern Sentries just win every match.
Sure.
And it's a 5.5-star match. The crowd clearly agrees. It is a holy shit moment as Bryson Pierce puts Garudo through the announce table with an elbow drop from the tight top rope. I'll take those 30 creativity points. And I will let you know, while it is a much-needed win for the Western Watch, Unlimited look tired. This is the second time they've had to fight a Southern Sentries tag team in a street fight match after already having to fight their way through the Arcane Artificer tournament last month in addition to the pay-per-view. And Prince Pretty Pink looks nervous backstage as he continues to face a two-front war outside of his expertise. But Hylian Cross, they're just mad. They're going to have to fight back and get their revenge next time around. But yeah, 5.5-star match.
Yeah.
We move on.
Right on.
This is my favorite gimmick I've done in a little bit here. Please tell me it goes well. Thank you very much. So it's a 4-star segment. That's fine. I don't care. Kennedy West has decided he needs to be more than just a neutral observer in this magical world we find ourselves in. The charismatic Big Shot has decided to make himself the definition of business casual. He's always got his tie, and he's always got his briefcase, but no shirt, no shoes, and the smallest trunks I could possibly find. The sunglasses look damn cool, and he is happy to flex for the fans along the way because he makes it clear his business is wrestling, and business is good.
Okay. Yeah. So we're the pool party Mundo over here. Got it.
Yes. I didn't intend that necessarily, but you are correct on the overall vibe. Probably more cohesive sentences, but otherwise, yes.
Maybe one or two, but let's be real. Okay, when you look like that, no, I'm just kidding. Okay. All right, fantastic. Good for Kennedy.
Yeah.
Good.
And he does say before this wraps up, he's like, look, last week it was a pitiful effort to try to recruit me into factions. But I want you to know that once y'all settle the dust on all these Total War feuds you've got going on, I am open to collaborating with the right business partner if a good offer comes along. So call me. And he does like the surfer bro where he's like pretending the phone is in his fingers before flexing his way off the stage.
Yeah, I mean, listen, you had two ways to go here. You flex him into Pool Party Mundo, or you flex him into the Kanye West, angle, being Kennedy West.
No, I'm not going to go that way. I'm going to tell you right now. In the year 2024, it's not going to work. Also, let's be real. I just needed a face, so I made him a himbo, and that seems fun to me.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say you'd have to, heel turn him and have him get into some very ludicrous fashion decisions, but this is good too.
Yeah, I'm happy with it. We'll see what the new year has in store for him. This is all set up for season 2, clearly.
So what you're saying is that season 2, if this doesn't go well, he could still have that other angle. Got it.
I don't know what you're talking about. Anyway, it went great. He's fine. He's fine.
He's fine.
We move on.
Suddenly, I'm just kidding.
It is a tag street fight match between Shots Fired and Overflow. And look, with the Throne of Bones forming from the Hellfire Club, the women's division is more stacked than ever. And both Shots Fired and Overflow find themselves on the outside looking in. They need to assert themselves as viable contenders for the belt next year. And look, Overflow has the edge right now. Not only have they won 3 matches in a row, but 2 of those matches were against Shots Fired. There was a weekly victory in August before their feud was official, when it was just kind of an individual and faction-oriented feud going on. But there was also a tables match win in September, and those are the only head-to-head feuds that we have seen. But there have been some individual feuds. Hana Rukawa has been feuding against both Denise Weston and Wendy Blank. And while Kai Han Ki got a tables match win in a 4-way women's match, Wendy Blank beat Hana head-to-head in a street fight match on the following weekly. So we have seen individual members of Shots Fired prove themselves against individual members of Overflow. But look, Overflow, right, or I should say, Shots Fired right now, the pressure is on, right? They've lost 4 matches in a row, and they have a lot to prove, especially since it's very likely that Shooting Stars, which was widely regarded as the second best tag team within the Sky Sentinels, might not exist for much longer unless Malachite Bronson and Cyan Orion can mend their feud, something that seems more and more unlikely as time has gone on. And Overflow, you can easily point to them and say, look, they're on a 3-match win streak. Things are going great. But they need to continue their dominance if they're going to get Ariana Black to approve a title push against Light and Shadow. It's not enough to be good. You have to be great. Because otherwise, we're not going to threaten our tag belt with another one of our tag teams just so you can lose it a week later. So that's the match. The pressure is on both sides. Who do you think is going to get the win tonight?
Sorry. I think that between Overflow and Shots Fired, Overflow looking really hot right now. They would be kind of my first pick, but this might be the time for Shots Fired to come up, get the big comeback win, make this feud a bit more even. I didn't hear you in there say it was a blow-off, to my knowledge.
No, it is not a blow-off. I will tell you that right now.
So I think that's a good reason for Shots Fired to take the dub home tonight, keep this feud a bit closer than it has been. But, again, I won't complain if Overflow win it.
Look, man, I could not agree with you more. It is indeed a Shots Fired win. It's a 4-star match, not exactly what I wanted to see, but was always a risk. Overflow, they are 3-star workers because they are over with the crowd. That's always the danger of working with Overflow. And tonight, I think the pressure got to him, right? Ariana Black, they need to impress her. And they know what happens if you don't. They have seen multiple members pushed out of the faction if you can't do what is needed. So Shots Fired, as much as they needed to prove themselves tonight, they were looking optimistically, right? They could become the second best tag at Sky Sentinels with a win tonight. Overflow, when you're trying not to lose, you end up losing to people who are trying to win.
Yeah.
But
it do be happening sometimes.
This leads to a very interesting segment because Flying High comes down into the ring to celebrate Shots Fired's victory with their faction mates. And DeVita gets on the mic and says, look, this match just proves that the Sky Sentinels are still the faction to beat in the tag division. Something that we're going to be very happy to prove by beating Light and Shadow at Future Sight next week. And Kai Han Ki, of course, gets on the mic and says, look, Flying High, you're about to discover what it's like to fight for scraps with the rest of the women's division like we do when you lose once again to the Scourge's finest. Don't think that just because we lost a match tonight, you suddenly have what it takes to take 2 of the greatest female wrestlers in this company. You're not those people. And Kai goes, look, you have no right to criticize us. Overflow, you're nobodies. You were easily disposed of the last time we wrestled each other. It wasn't close. So you know what? Maybe instead of worrying about whether or not we are going to take down your precious Light and Shadow, maybe you should work on improving your actual ring skills before you take a team like us on. And Hanurukawa, it looks like she's about to get on the mic. And instead, she hits Ai Hakai with a sucker punch. The 2 start brawling. It ends up being a clash between the 2 tag teams. Shots Fired ends up pulling Flying High away, reminding them they still have a match tonight. And Amiko, illegally I'm not allowed to call her Amikio right now.
Yep.
And Kagetsu are seen laughing backstage. Overflow may not have won the match, but they did bait Flying High into a brawl that will weaken them before the match tonight. And that is a victory for the Scourge. And it's a 4.5-star segment too.
Listen, not a bad segment. I will say narratively, I loved it. Okay, narratively, that deserved 5 stars in my book.
The the fake getting on a mic just to drop the sucker punch to kick off the brawl. I did thoroughly enjoy that, and I'm glad that Overflow and Flying High have this feud returning. It speaks volumes to, I think, Overflow are very good, and the loss tonight doesn't diminish that.
Let me tell you, the goal of season 2 is to make Kai Hanki and Hana Rukawa 4-star work rate wrestlers. That is the only job that I care about accomplishing. I just want them to be good. They're really good on the mic. They aren't the workers I want them to be, but that's the goal. And we'll see if they get there. But we move on to a street fight match between Shane Mack and Devin Moxie. Now, both of these guys tried to wrestle Kennedy West last week to recruit them into their respective factions. And, Devin Moxie, as far as Retribution's concerned, they are entirely unconvinced that the Eastern Elite have the best intentions of the MEW at heart. After all, why sabotage Righteous Retribution's push for a talent like Kennedy West if you believe we all have space to get along and you aren't actively planning to come after us once you scavenge the dregs of former Western Watch members after Future Sight, when El Rey Loco tears that faction down once and for all. Now, Shane Mack isn't here to defend the Western Watch, but he says, look, if that's all I cared about, we could easily pay for a dozen wrestlers to join the Eastern Elite easily. I own this business. I've got cash to spare and everyone's got a price. But the problem is your paranoia. Your mad lunatic king over there is afraid of everything around him, constantly assumes the worst. And I do not believe we should allow you to poison the minds of new wrestlers who enter this company. They both blame each other for their failures last week, right? Devin Moxie is if it wasn't for Shane Mack, Kennedy West would be a member of Righteous Retribution right now. Shane Mack feels the exact same way. That would be an Eastern Elite victory were it not for Devin Moxie. The Mack truck.
Not ringing any bells, but yeah, sure.
You gave him a nickname. You can't say he doesn't ring any bells when you gave him a nickname.
Oh, no, the guy that Johnny gave the nickname to.
Johnny did
remember.
Him,
yeah, okay. I remember him now. It's that random guy that called out Johnny. Okay, I know who we're talking about. Sorry, it just, listen, it's hard when you have so many folks that don't matter that you have to pay attention to. So, so... Continue. Sorry, you were saying, yes.
Well, does that mean I know what your prediction's going to be here? Are you...
You sure do. It's going to be Devin Moxie, okay? My man, Mr. Moxie, the creeper, is kind of creepy, but he's going to get that win tonight.
No faith in the 1-in-13 Shane Mack?
Listen, if we're talking gameplay stuff, I might have to change my answer, but we're not doing that.
No.
And Johnny has instructed me that this random sucks. And that Devin Moxie, the creeper, is maintain his spot as a main eventer and go to that 2-6 record while Shane Mack continues to become more irrelevant than he already was.
Well, you're absolutely right. This is a Devin Moxie victory. It is a hot match, a 5-star match. Thank you very much, game. I've been waiting for the kindness in the score there. No holy shit moment, but it's still a very strong performance as far as I'm concerned. Righteous Retribution telling the Eastern Elite that just because you have the money and just because you have the numbers doesn't mean you get to sleep on what we're capable of. And it's a nice win for Devin, who really needs it ever since coming back from his injury. He's only really done well in tag matches. So nice to see him get a singles win.
Good job, Devin. Well done. Way to put that MacBook to rest.
Yeah, the Mack truck here may or may not qualify for a losers promo.
Mac truck. Sorry, MacBook, Mac truck, macaroni, whatever.
Well, we move on. And it is a tag elimination match between the Throne of Bones and Flying High. And it cuts to a backstage segment from earlier tonight. Throne of Bones just formed last week, but Skull Tabaka and Tijuana King were already in my office demanding a title shot, pointing to the fact that Skull is a face of the company, already on her way at least, and they're confident she's going to get there. And Tijuana was a former champion with the irrelevant Alana Elise. Their words, not mine. I'm sure Alana Elise would be very upset to hear that, especially because she won that solo feud against Tijuana King, but I digress. And I'm like, look, I can't make this call for Light and Shadow. They're the champions. And I call Amu in there. And Amu says, look, there is a reason that Ariana didn't choose you to be the tag team. We had those 1v1 qualification matches. You had the opportunity to become Light and Shadow, and you failed. You don't have what it takes to be on our level. And Throne of Bones, they're unfazed. We're like, look, that's who we were, but we know who we are now. We got the Hellfire Club behind us. We have put in the work, and we are ready to take down anybody in our path. And Amu's just kind of amused by their overconfidence. She's like, look, I'll give you a deal. Defeat Flying High in an elimination match tonight. Prove that you're better than a former champion in this belt. And we'll make it a triple threat for the main title. Deal? And Throne of Bones immediately, deal. Absolutely. And that's where we're at. If Throne of Bones win this match, it is a triple threat for the Keepers of the Realm Championship between Throne of Bones, Flying High, and Light and Shadow. If Flying High win tonight, it will remain a one-on-one tag championship match. So the question is, Xander, Throne of Bones have everything to win. Flying High desperately do not want to lose their 5th match in a row. They're a little tired after that epic brawl, but they have far more experience than Throne of Bones.
I think they come out on top tonight. It's Flying High. You set up some good stuff. You want to so that feud is going to be more impactful after it gets closed out by Overflow against Shots Fired. You're setting this up. That's what I want to see, at least. That's what I want to believe. Throne of Bones are cool and all. Not saying they're not good. I definitely, respectful match from them, but Flying High all day.
Here's the thing. Flying High are the better tag team. Throne of Bones don't have the synergy that Flying High do. But Flying High are tired. They got hit hard. Those sucker punches that Hana Rukawa and Kaihan Ki landed, they hurt. And while this match early on is very Flying High, it becomes an endurance match. And Throne of Bones, because they are not tired, because they have not been brawling anybody earlier tonight, outlast them.
Okay.
And Kagetsu, watching backstage, is laughing, entirely unfazed. Amu looks displeased. She believed everything you just said. She thought Flying High were going to easily dispose of these women who are not worthy of challenging them. But her word is her word. This is going to be a triple threat. And her overconfidence may have just made her title defense that much harder. It sounds like you're still unconvinced by the story I'm telling on this one.
Yeah, a little bit. But it's all good. Good for Throne of Bones. I mean, it makes sense because if it becomes a match of attrition, then obviously the group that's less tired is going to win. But
yes, it also helps, right? The Hellfire Club and Scourge still have a feud to blow off as a Total War.
Yeah, sure.
And we have the Total War between Sky Sentinels and Hellfire Club. Just makes sense for the women's tag belt to me to have all three represented, but. I get you.
100.
Flying High, look, it is not to the detriment of Flying High here. It is a 5-star match, and I'll fucking take that. But we move on. Last week, Briar Allison demanded a street fight match against Derek Nash, right? Which Derek Nash wrote off as an easy match with a clear path to victory and almost lost as a result. Briar forced him to go all out to secure the victory, which is a real hit to his ego. But, Briar, she's focused on what's in front of her, right? She comes alongside Sumi Kabaya Lorena Lucier, all the members of Sky Sentinels are kind of regrouping after the Flying High loss. Like, okay, here's what we need to do to adjust to Throne of Bones entering this Defenders of the Realm title match, right? Here's what we need to do to get the upper hand on them, because we cannot let the Hellfire Club encroach in the women's division the same way that Hall of Ashes have allowed them to take over the men's division. And they have that meeting, and Briar Allison walks out, and Derek Nash body slams her into a wall. Just a full-on face. I guess I'd already done this with Sky Sentinels and Hellfire Club. I don't remember when. Okay.
Unlucky.
That is unfortunate. Because that means one of those 4 stars is gonna count. Cool. I love how this game decides that a Total War feud means you can never have a surprise attack if you did one once between 2 entirely different members. Well, fuck it. We're moving on to the story part of this. Derek Nash just reminds her, you started this, but I'm going to finish it. And when I do, you're going to regret the day that you challenged the extreme king of magically enhanced wrestling. And as he storms off after dropping his threat, Sumi Kabaya helps her get up. And Briar looks prouder. Like, she's beaming. Sumi's like, why are you, like, are you okay? Like, what, like, that looks like it hurt. And Briar's like, look, Derek wouldn't have done that if he didn't consider me a threat. That's what you do when you want to take somebody down, not when you believe someone's beneath you. I'm already in his head, and I'll take that as a win tonight. Sumi just kind of looks at her like, oh, I mean, okay. That's how you want to look at it. I'd be worried about the bruise tomorrow, but good for you. And Briar not going to let it phase her. I'm phased because, again, I didn't realize.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. That's another.
Yeah.
You live and you learn, but learning in the last weekly sucks.
It's not exactly what I was hoping for, but I do have 3 more matches to bring it around and make sure
let's
that.
see if we can bring it around town. I will say I still like the surprise attack. Just, already held penalty be like that. Unlucky.
Faction feuds are tough, man.
At least, but let's look at the bright side. At least you got 100% efficacy and the producer focus. Because if both of those things didn't happen, that would be getting counted.
That's true. And Gus Sanchez is now a level 3 producer, so that's nice.
Yeah. So congrats, Gus. All right. So not the end of the world, but definitely still sucks, and I empathize.
Yeah.
I empathize with gameplay mechanics. Part of me is slightly relieved because I now know that you have a 4-star getting counted. So I'm, of course, hoping you don't bring it all the way home with the matches tonight. But, listen, I'm beating you because of minor game mechanics.
Well, we'll see how these last 3 segments go. I'm feeling pretty good about this one. It is a match between Larger Than Life and Liquid Steel. And look, the back and forth these two trios have had, right? But for anyone who has missed any step of it, here's everything you need to know. Liquid Steel were champions. They successfully defended the Jester's Joust title against Larger Than Life at Final Destination all the way back in May. Eastern Elite brought Jay Xavier into the fold as a fully fledged member after the Western Watch exodus when Prince Pretty Pink usurped the throne away from El Rey Loco. And as a result, Larger Than Life found themselves on the outside looking in, no longer the only trio that could fully call themselves part of the Eastern Elite. They lose a match, join Independence, and win the title at Bonds of Destiny, then proceeded to defend it 3 pay-per-views in a row in one-on-one matches against Liquid Steel at Life or Death, Saving Throw, and Crown of Madness, demonstrating not just how much these 2 teams hate each other, how much this rivalry has built, a friendly contest turning into a very unfriendly contest as the feud between Independence and the Eastern Elite heated up over that period of time. But it's also how top-heavy the Trios division had been, right? But at some point, the hate these 2 teams have to each other became an existential threat as their feud left room for Risk It All to take the belt at Pact of Doom in October. And larger than life, they had the ability to challenge back for it because they were the previous champions, and they failed to do so in November. So that champion's privilege is no longer on the table. So here is the match I laid out to them. Only one of them is going to get to be in the Future Sight Jester's Joust title match against Risk It All. So there's no gimmick here, no tricks, just a 3v3 match. The winner challenges Risk It All for the belt of Future Sight, and the loser is forced to watch from the sidelines. So with the stakes clear and quite high, who do you think I give the win to?
I think tonight it's going to Liquid Steel. They could use a little bit of liquidity on the wins column, and so they're gonna come out on top of Larger Than Life, continue this match, and really try to pull out a big win here. Obviously face versus face friendly contest. At the end of the day, everyone's hoping to win with the fans, but I think it's going to be Liquid Steel. Do a bit of a bit of some fire matches tonight.
I have to check a couple things real quick. So this is a minus but a plus to the feud. This is a minus but a plus to the feud as well. But is it less of a minus? Not really. It just means that it's a better draw for the loser. So because I've only gotten one holy shit moment tonight, this is going to be a double pin draw between Liquid Steel and Larger Than Life. And as a result, because there is no winner, because both shoulders were down, they're both in the Jester's Joust title match, much to their frustration. And it's a 4.75 star match. The double pin, I hate losing a quarter star, but I love the story here that neither of these teams could outmatch each other, and now they've both got to deal with Risk It All at the pay-per-view. Yeah, so what do you think?
No, it's great stuff. Yeah. It's great stuff. I love the listen. Good use of the double pin. I would say you don't cost yourself too much. Obviously, the surprise attack kind of screwing you on that, because a 4.75 with the use of the double pin, I think, is extremely fine situation in a vacuum.
Yeah.
Mechanically, in terms of the narrative, I love it. I love it. Both of these folks securing themselves that match in the Jester's Joust. They got to see each other again, and now climb over each other next week at the pay-per-view. It's going to be big.
Absolutely. Can they learn how to put that rivalry aside to take down Risk It All, or are they going to take each other out once again? That's what we're going to find out, folks. But we move on to a Smack Talk segment. You know how much I love my Smack Talk segments.
I sure do.
Arsenico comes out to the ring to once again celebrate the 1-2 punch that he and Monty Hendrix bring to this company as the Sorcerer Supreme and Arcane Artificer, two men blessed by God on a divine mission to purge this league of chaos and corruption from the former faction system. But Techno Boy comes out and calls out Arsenico's logic, pointing out that independents are the ones causing chaos right now, with people like Asha Nieves and No Bullshit on the roster. And Monty Hendrix, he fucking attacked Eli Chaos backstage in the locker room, just absolutely went to town on that guy. How is that not chaos? And if you're going to say that the faction system is corrupt, you bragged about independents winning best faction of the year. So you're claiming that you're here to undermine the very system that you've put your place atop of. That's a lie. It's a bold-faced lie, and you know it. And Johnny Scott motions as if he's going to speak on Arsenico's behalf, but Arsenico puts the hand up and he goes, Techno Boy, you lost child. You need to find your way back to the path before we at Independence have to take more drastic measures. We have tried to be generous, especially given you and Vinny Stacks have been acting in ways that go against the divine plan that I have built. But you cannot do this and see yourself as a member of Independence moving forward. Technoboy says, look, I don't care if you kick me out of Independence. Come at me all you want. But what about people like Ryu Otake? Ryu Otake's done everything right, and you have left him out of the spotlight every single time you have come out to the stage since Monty Hendrix won, despite the fact that he holds the Flame Warlock belt, which is a way more important belt than whatever the hell you created with this Arcane Artificer bullshit. Ryu deserves better than what you're giving him, regardless of what you think about me. Seneca just kind of waves his hand away. He's like, look, Ryu still needs to prove himself compared to Monty. And Techno was bullshit. That guy's already proven himself far more than, and deserves far more than he's been given. And Arseneco says, you know what? Fine, Techno Boy. If that's what you believe, if you believe that Ryu Otake is unstoppable, that he deserves all of the credit in the world, you know what? He should have no problem defeating not just one, but two challengers from the Southern Centuries tonight. If he's as good as you say, shouldn't be a problem at all. And let's make it an Iron Man match. Let's truly test his endurance and have him prove to everyone that he is the man you believe him to be, and prove himself in this divine place that we call the ring. And Technoboy says, that's insane. Why would you hinder your champion like that in an exhausting match before Future Sight? You've lost the plot, Arsenico. But you know what? I have no doubt Ryu Otake is going to rise to the occasion. And Technoboy walks out, and Ryu begins to head to the ring for this match that he has been signed up for. And Technoboy just tells him, you deserve better. Ryu says nothing, but he appears to be moved. And that's not the score I wanted. I'm going to be honest with you on that.
Yeah, that one's rough too.
That's a tough pill to swallow. I am now fully counting on Eduardo carrying his way to victory. I knew they were both 3-star charisma. I knew it was a risk. I didn't think it was that big of a risk given how well I'd been doing at Smack Talks and that it's a silver star package at this point. But them's the breaks, kid, I suppose.
It was the breaks.
You know, it's one of those, I want to just highlight real quick, right? Arsenico clearly dominates from a power perspective, right? When it comes to, he gets exactly what he wants from the scene, but so does Technoboy, because Ryu Otake heard him. And for the first time in a while, someone has recognized the work that he put in and recognized that he has not been given what he deserves from Arsenico. And sometimes you just need to feel seen. So not the score I was looking for, but what did you think of the segment as it stands story-wise?
Love the segment, though. I do. Narratively, I love it. Arsenico, I mean, listen, I'm a big fan of Technoboy. I like the fact that Arsenico is faltering a little bit in terms of how the perception around him has shifted from when he entered what he started with and to where he is now. That cult leader kind of mentality biting him in the ass a little bit here. You've got a guy like Technoboy out there to highlight it. And him having Ryu's back, listen, I love this. I really do love this. I think this is a great narrative. I think of what we've seen tonight. You're going after, some of what Walter's doing, and trying to keep pace narratively. So I'm a big fan.
I really wasn't trying to. The surprise attack boomed me. I was ready for Smack Talk to get dropped. I didn't expect the shots. That unfortunate, brother. But
no, listen.
The rest of it.
No. Game mechanics aside, I'm giving you props for the narrative right now. Okay, so narrative, it's working. It's working. You did good work on the narrative tonight. I'm breathing a slight sigh of relief. I still got to overcome Eduardo, but as long as I hope I'm not getting ahead of myself, of course.
But you've put out some fucking strong cards, man. So having you drop a little bit, I'm breathing okay. But let's see how Warlock until you drop the 6-star, weekly of a lifetime right here. So.
Well, that sure would be nice. We'll see if it can pull it off because Ryo Take has two very talented foes in front of him tonight. The first is Gavin Smith. And yes, Gavin Smith's record is 1-14, but he has already said on the mic, he's not here to win. He's here to inflict pain. He's here to make it hurt. So when Arsenico allows Gavin Smith into the ring, what he's saying is, let's pick the guy most likely to wear Ryu down without actually having a chance to win the title, right? Let's make Ryu hurt for the insolence that he believes he saw with that Smack Talk segment, right? And Mikey Dolan, obviously, Ryu and Mikey have been feuding for a while now. It started with a street fight back at Crown of Madness that Ryo Take won. But Mikey's hungry to prove that it wasn't a fluke, that was a fluke, right? That he, despite being 2-10 as an individual performer, he's part of Risk It All now. He's a trios champion. And he deserves to be taken seriously as a threat in matches like this. And Ryo Take, the dragon of independence, the man who has done everything that has ever been asked of him, taking down Derek Nash to win this belt at the last pay-per-view. He is up against the wall in what is essentially a 1v2 Iron Man match in everything but name. Xander, who do you think's winning this one?
Man, I think it's going to be Ryu. I think it's Ryu coming out on top.
It is indeed Ryu Take. He is exactly as good
It's a 5.5 stars. See, this is why I didn't get overhyped yet, because 5.5 star getting doubled is spicy.
I will take it, my friend. And look, we're going to look at what this means in a little bit, but holy shit moment, Ryo Take about to hit Gavin Smith with a finisher before they both collapsed from exhaustion. It is the holy shit moment, and I did need that. So I'll take that as a win. I do like a 5.5 star match. But the key here from a narrative perspective, Arsenico watches this entire fight from the top of the ramp, right? And when Ryu wins, and he wins 3-2, it is close, but he wins. And Vinny Stacks and Techno Boy, the two members of A Better Tomorrow, come down to the ring to congratulate him and celebrate their faction member's victory. And Ryu looks up at Arsenico as if to say, like, are you proud? Did I do you proud here? And Arsenico just turns away and says nothing. And Ryu looks genuinely hurt as his only true friends in Independence lead him out of the ring to celebrate his victory. Man, I wonder if Independence is going to have a Civil War soon.
Yeah, it's kind of sounded like it, huh?
4.75, honestly.
Yeah, honestly, that's not bad. That 5.5 star, man, and the 5.25 at the beginning, but good stuff, dude.
Yeah, that leads
you pulled it off at the end. I mean, you saved it at the end. There's still a dream. The dream's alive. It's not dead yet.
I will take it. This has been what I've averaged all 3 weeklies so far. Obviously, you could look at this 2 ways, right? Glass half empty. This is a card of missed opportunities. The Smack Talk going poorly. I really thought Johnny Scott as the manager would lift up Arsenico and lift the score entirely. The surprise attack not being the way that I thought it would. Shots fired and the gimmick package both low rolling to a certain extent. But if you look glass half full, I'm proud of the narrative I built. I appreciate the kind words you shared on it because it did spend a lot of time thinking about how I want these pieces to come together before what should be an incredible pay-per-view at Future Sight. And given all of the things that went wrong, I feel like this is a best case scenario and I will fucking take it.
And fuck him.
Perfect. Well, we move on, Xander, to you. Wednesday Night Triumph.
To me?
Yes, indeed, because Eduardo was in the lead, is currently in the lead. You need to beat his score tonight by a 1/4 star if you want to split points, beat him by a 1/2 star if you want to take the entire point for yourself. So I ask you, before we jump into this, what does Wednesday Night Triumph have in store for us to try to make that happen?
Listen, Wednesday Night Triumph is here to rock the boat. We had some interesting things this week. Okay, some big Total War stuff going on between a few factions, started a couple of new feuds, but we talked about it coming into this set of weeklies after the pay-per-view. There is a massive movement going on within our tag divisions. It is very, very evident that 7-star match, the most crazy, insane match of the year, put everybody in Glory of Legends on notice that the tag matches are the place to be if you want the glory. The tag belts, okay, and I say belts because you've got the tag belt, you've got the trio belt, and you have that tag cash in right now. And because of this, there has been an influx of talent. There have been returning tag teams that want their shot at greatness again. There have been the tags that are already the ones at the top holding on to the belts, fighting for the belts. You've got Jolly Roger. You have, of course, Blot Out the Sun that just lost it. You have Frontline, the ones that put that match on that just absolutely blew everybody away. And so tonight, everything is built around tag teams. And what you're going to see, that Ravaging Marauder, Vinland Saga, are going to try and cement themselves as a new, or the continued top contender that is not named Jolly Roger. And the only way they're going to do that is by persisting over, let's just say, a lesser winning tag, but more importantly, a tag that is featuring a faction leader tonight. But we've got a lot more before we get to that, and I can't wait to show it to you.
Yeah, let's jump right on in. It looks like Alex Jim is here with an important announcement. Tell us what we're seeing here, Xander.
That's right. Alex Jim is out here to say that he's been thinking deeply about what it means to be a leader in For the People. And he has watched Hueso bring together so many talented faces who has endorsed, he's talked about, he's hyped up, himself included. And he really believes that having Hueso as his manager is the thing he needs to do in order to finally be the one to take down Johnny Hangtime. And Alex comes out and says, Hueso, I'm going to be honest. There is not a single person in this promotion I respect more than you. I have done my best to lead from the front. I have put up match after match, fight after fight, and I have been bested lately. I have been trying to do what the people need and take that crown off Johnny's head, and I have not been able to succeed. But I believe with the coalition that you have built of all of these faces from all these wonderful face factions, some of whom we haven't gotten, but right now we need to align together and do the thing that needs to be done and keep Johnny from maintaining his iron grip on this promotion and the imbalance and the treachery that it has brought. And Hueso, I would be honored if you would take me on and manage me. And Hueso steps up and says, Alex, for other wrestlers, I go to them. And I tell them I'm going to manage them. I tell them they need my help. But with you, I would have ever come to you first. You needed to come to me. You needed to be the one to make this decision. And I agree. You have the talent. There is no one else right now, no other face in this company that can even stand in the ring with Johnny. And you've done it more than once, twice, more than 3 times, more than 4 times. You are out here putting in the work and demonstrating that you have consistently gotten better. You have consistently gotten closer to taking that belt and that crown off of Johnny. And the fact that you came here tonight, humbly asking for me to step in and help you, this shows that you have the spirit and the mindset and the will to be the next emperor. And I'm going to stand with you, Alex. I'm going to stand with you. I'm going to help you do this, and we will unseat the tyrant together.
I mean, it's a lovely moment between these two. I do believe that of all the faces in this company, Alex Jim has the best chance possible. And I'm glad to see him team up with a talent like Hueso de Cabra. The two of them combined, there is so much that they are capable of. And given some of the artifacts I know you have, I am fascinated to see how some of this comes together in season 2. But for now, it's a 5-star segment. You knew it would be a 5-star segment. There's no question on how this and maybe a couple other segments later in this card are going to go. So enjoy it, bask in it, and tell me what is happening as Johnny Hangtime is coming down to the ring to interrupt this beautiful moment we just shared.
All right. The smack talk here is obvious. Johnny Hangtime, hearing his name come out of the mouth of both Alex Jim and Hueso de Cabra repeatedly, steps on down to the ring. His music kicks on, the pyrotechnics go off, and Hueso and Alex, after having a really heartfelt moment, turn. And you see Alex Jim's face change from this, big kind of excited smile, this, very like triumphant look, to just sheer anger, knowing that Johnny is coming down to interrupt this moment. And Johnny steps down and says, well, you've had a lot to say. Hueso, you irrelevant old piece of shit. I don't understand how you keep making it into my events. I continuously tell them not to let you in, and somehow you worm your way like the little snake that you are coming in here. Now, I don't have time for you right now, Hueso, so you and I will have a little chat at a different time. You really don't matter a whole lot to me. You don't matter a whole lot to any of the fans. You keep coming out here night after night, picking faces and hyping them up just for them to get crushed by members of Conquest or Death. Or, even worse, get crushed by members of Burn It All Down, which is even more embarrassing for you than losing to us, because at least losing to us means you're losing to the Emperor. But that's an aside. You stand off in the corner and shut up. Now, Alex, I've got something to say to you. I've graced you by allowing you to wrestle me week after week because you're a pretty talented guy. It's a good look for everybody. And there's, someone who can conceivably be in a close match with me that isn't a member of Conquest or Death. But if you're going to come out here and take the gift that the Emperor has given you and for an even moment think that you can genuinely rip this belt off of me and that I'm not just doing you a favor, oh, buddy. Oh, you're in for a world of hurt. At this next match, I'm not just going to beat you like I have the last few times. I'm also going to make sure there's no Emily Everett to make the match look even closer while you're off on the side nursing your wounds after I drop kick you. It's going to be you and me in the ring. And I'm going to end your fucking career. And that's a promise from the Emperor. And Alex Jim turns and says, Johnny, I do appreciate the opportunities you've given me. I really do. I appreciate the opportunity for me to show night after night that you're nothing but a tyrant. You're nothing but a petty, squabbling warlord masquerading as the Emperor. I'm happy that you've allowed me to shine a light, that For the People are here to represent the fans, that For the People are here to demonstrate a different way to do wrestling in Glory of Legends. And most of all, Johnny, I'm happy for the opportunity you've given me to learn what it takes to beat you. And that match after match, while you're not taking me seriously, I've figured out what I must do to overcome you. When this next pay-per-view comes up, and you're standing there gloating before the match begins, and those of them loyal to you because they know nothing else are cheering you on, I want you to know that that is the last moment like that you will ever have in Glory of Legends. Because when I take that belt and I become the Emperor, a new day is going to dawn, and 4 people are going to show everybody what wrestling could be at its peak, and it does not involve a fucking hang time. And Alex Jim drops the mic and walks away with Hueso.
Does Alex Jim win the smack talk? It sure sounds like he
Alex
did.
Jim sure did win the smack talk there.
And it's a nice 4.5-star segment here. Very nice for Alex Jim getting that overness boost. That should get him to 100%. We're very darn close. Yeah, I mean, look, I love the feud you've built up between Alex Jim and Johnny Hangtime. Alex was such a great winner of the men's heavyweight championship. He has taken a lot of losses, but they've all come against guys like Johnny. So if he's learned from that, if he is truly going to live up to the words he just showed in the ring, I am very excited to see what he can do at the next pay-per-view. But Hueso de Cabra is still in the ring, and it looks like he has more to say.
Listen, Hueso turns back. Johnny and him cross paths. Johnny is fuming. You see Johnny's face is red. He's angry. And he turns and says something to Hueso that no one can hear. It's not caught on the mic. But clearly it takes Hueso back for a moment. Hueso stops, walks up to the ring, and hops back in. He grabs the mic. Before everyone has loved the faces in this promotion so much more lately because they're working together. So many factions have worked so hard to build something, and mostly in the face of adversity. And it's in the face of adversity that I want to recognize tonight. A faction that came together because they were being brutalized by another. Some of you may know the terrible things Konodo Karius have done. But few of you have cheered on the people who stood against them and who continue to stand against them tonight. And it's for this reason I'm calling out Ryan Fox. I want to highlight him. I want him to be known. I want him to be seen. And I want Police Demos. I want their name to be cheered. At that moment, Ryan Fox's music kicks in. He walks out. And all he does is put his hand out to Hueso de Cabra and say, "Thank you, Hueso. Thank you for recognizing Police Demos. Thank you for recognizing what we stand for. And thank you for standing against the tyranny and monstrous behavior of Konodo Karius that has been left unchecked by the Emperor until now. Only you and the faces have done anything to call it out or stand against it. And I know, Hueso, without you, we would still continue to suffer. So thank you from the bottom of our hearts." And Hueso pats him, and the crowd cheers.
Yeah, it's a nice moment for Hueso de Cabra. He really has spread out the love among these face factions. Now, do they all get together and get along quite as well as he is seemingly indicating? I'm not as convinced, given the feuds we've seen between people like Bright Future and Juge in the past, but perhaps this is a new era for Glory of Legends. Perhaps Hueso de Cabra is the uniting force that can bring people together in a way that just hasn't been capable before. We'll certainly have to see, but with all these segments, it's about time we get to a match, and what a match it is. Sho Fujino, the mysterious assassin, versus Gaijo Jade, the Japanese cyborg, in a street fight match. What brings these two to the ring tonight, Xander?
Yeah, listen, these guys have been going at it for a bit, okay? You have Sho, who is, of course, a very key member within the Burn kind of in a stymied moment in terms of his rise, was having solid matches, is the tag team, partner of Executioner Goro, and has Krieger standing right behind him as a manager. So Sho is someone that is, very well recognized within the promotion and Burn It All Down. And he's up against tonight Gaijo Jade, for the people. This is an old, long-standing feud between these two. As long as For the People and Burn It All Down have gone at it, their members have been at each other's throats. Gaijo wanting to stop Sho from that face of the company rise and secure himself that after a pretty substantial amount of losses. Sho, on the other hand, in a similar position in terms of the losses, but wants to re-cement himself as a member. Right now, he is the only guy outside of those core belt matches. He's been in a few of them. He was in the lightweight matches with Phil Hangtime. That feud got crushed. And now he's looking to kind of reposition himself so that when that lightweight title opens up, a cruiserweight title shot opens up, he will be up there for consideration, just below Sebastian Chaos, Maricela Reyes, and of course, Vince Rivera.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of those, with Glory of Legends, you always have to keep in mind, you could have a face of the company at 3-13. That's just a thing that can happen. And it's not something you see in a lot of other promotions, certainly, but this is what happens when you have a lot of multi-man matches and you're constantly putting people like Sho Fujino and Gaijo Jade against the best of the best. So you can't look at 3-13 versus 2-14 and determine from there who the winner is going to be. Now, I know that you've got story in mind for things like this, but I also know that Sho Fujino is at just 1,007 right now. I think you have plans for him in the long run, and I think, unfortunately, that spells some bad news for Gaijo Jade. Am I right with that prediction?
You're right tonight, okay? Sho Fujino is going to collect the win. He's got Executioner Goro behind him. He's got Krieger behind him. And Gaijo is going to have to go back to the drawing board and figure out what he needs to do to overcome this and win this feud. It's a feud he does feel strongly about. He thinks this is his time to overcome Sho, and tonight he falls short.
It's a tough one for the people. After everything that Hueso de Cabra has done for faces and this company, a heel immediately getting a win has to feel a little bad. But Xander, you have to be feeling pretty darn good, because that full of action bonus takes what would have been a 4.25 star match and turns it into a 5-star banger. So well done to Sho Fujino and Gaijo Jade for putting on one heck of a show for the fans. This is why you see people like Sho Fujino and Gaijo Jade so highly ranked, because even if they are not securing wins, they know how to get the fans excited and give the high-level intensity and action that the fans of Glory of Legends are looking for. So kudos to you for that. But we move on to a first blood match between Black Bull with Executioner Goro in his corner versus Azaki Cordova with Hueso de Cabra in his corner. What brings these two to the ring tonight?
Listen, you heard it earlier. Johnny called it out. Burn It All Down and For the People have a vitriolic feud that extends well beyond their total war. Is burning like hellfire. And it's for that reason that two top contenders for the cruiserweight, arguably Executioner Goro's heavyweight belt, are in a match tonight. Azaki wanting to get the win that will push him up over Black Bull and start to put him in that position to where he's going to be able to take on Executioner Goro straight up. And there's no better way to do that than by taking out the dog of war that Black Bull has become after Executioner Goro taking him on as a manager. Now, on the other side of that, Executioner is out here trying to make sure that that dog of war murders Azaki Cordova. He doesn't want to just beat him. He wants him to bleed. And he wants him to bleed so badly that it puts any thought of Azaki being in that entirely. Hueso, of course, here to represent his, his trainee, and he believes in Azaki. He stepped in right when Azaki lost that belt, that cruiserweight title to Vince Rivera, and has been trying to help him and say, listen, you may have lost that match. You are no stranger to losses. You had that huge loss streak, and you came out of it a better wrestler. The same thing is going to happen here. You're going to find a way to overcome that cruiserweight loss, and you're going to be the one that goes after Executioner Goro. You're the guy that can do it, Azaki.
Man, look, I love Azaki. I love the next Liger just as a gimmick. I think it's a lot of fun, and I think he's proven himself as a champion in the past. Black Bull is deadly, and he's overdue for a win. I honestly could see you go either way with this match. I think it comes down to who you have bigger plans for, not just at this pay-per-view, but let's say the first quarter of season 2, assuming that does indeed come to pass. So the question becomes, Xander, who did you give the win to?
This is a close one.
It is.
Both guys can win. Both guys need the win.
Incredible talents.
And this feud has to go hot if it's going to continue. All right. Which is a game mechanic I'm only bringing up because that should mean that Azaki wins, but that's not what happens. Tonight, Black Bull is going to be the one to secure this win and put Azaki in his place.
Black Bull does indeed get the win. Unfortunately, the feud does not go hot. It is a 4.5 stars, so still a very solid performance there, but no holy shit moments so far. Not the full result you were looking for, but still I think a very strong performance overall.
Yeah. A little unlucky.
But we move on to a segment I don't think we've ever seen before, and oh boy, does it seem to have worked out for you. What are we seeing in the ring here? Let's ignore what's in the text box. I want to hear from you what's happening here.
Yeah.
Tonight.
So Serpentine Suprema is out in the ring doing a promo for Brigantia. He wants to hype up Frontline. He's talking about how, we are the #1 tag team, but we are also the #1 up-and-coming face faction. And I respect the hell out of what Hueso's doing with For the People, but we are the ones that people should be paying attention to, okay? I love that Alex Jim is taking it. I'm sad to see Azaki lose in that last match. Burn it all down. But right now, we're the ones to beat. And I'm telling you, I will be the one going after Johnny. I will be the one going after Phil. And I will be the one going after Kai Galvana. And it's right after he says Kai Galvana's name that Kai Galvana comes down to the ring. And Kai says, Serpentine, listen, you fucked up tonight. Because I had an announcement too. And Johnny promised me this moment to give that announcement. And Kai kind of looks up to the fans and is like, I think you all want to hear my announcement, right? And the fans cheer. And he says, it's a big announcement for Conquest or Death. Massive. Okay? It's one that has enormous implications. You're in my fucking way. And at that moment, Emily Everett and Anastasia come running down the ramp. And Kai jumps into the ring and starts assaulting Serpentine, who does hold himself for a moment. But the minute that Emily and Anastasia get in there, it turns into an absolute beatdown. And while Serpentine is getting beaten down, Kai hops off him for a moment and instructs Emily and Anastasia to continue just kicking him while he's on the ground. And Kai picks up the mic. Well, now that we've handled our minor interference, tonight is a great night to tell you that Conquest or Death have sat idly by for too long watching these dog water trios wrestle each other. Brigantia
were a superpower there? And he looks down at Serpentine. I think not. Bright future or a superpower there? I think not. I think you all know it's time for Conquest or Death to come in once again and remind everybody that while the Emperor reigns, there is only one boot you need to look out for. And it's the one around your neck. And that's us tonight. Be ready to see us hurt, maim all of these awful, atrocious trios. And he drops the mic. He goes over. He lifts Serpentine up. He turns around and gives like a joke pose while they kind of hold his limp body up. And throws him out of the ring and walks off with Emily and Anastasia.
Wow. I do think he maybe mixed some metaphors a little bit. I don't know many boots around throats, but it works. It's a 5-star segment.
Boot on your neck, boot around your throat. Yeah,
look,
it was a little oof.
Imperator Eternum are a trio to watch out for. This is one of those Conquest or Death have been looking for an opportunity, I think, to enter here. And it is a star-studded trio. Now, are all of these people going to be available on a regular basis to wrestle? I'm not sure. I'm a little concerned, perhaps, that this could be like a Crushing Blow scenario or a Hang Time Empire where the tag is made, they wrestle once or twice, and then they're too busy doing other things. But in an isolated vacuum, in what you have built here tonight, it's one hell of a segment. It's a 5-star segment and a well-deserved 5-star segment, and I am curious to see if you prove me wrong on this, if this trio ends up taking over that division, because oh boy, are these 3 incredible names that could easily take over what the trios division currently has on hand. But for now, we move on to a match between Castle Crashers and Crushing Blow. How did we get here?
Yeah, speaking of people that don't wrestle, as you say that, I proved you wrong already, okay? Crushing Blow are back at it tonight.
I also said Hang Time Empire for the record. So let me know when they're in the ring.
And here's the thing. Everyone has seen, like I said, what is going on with the tag division here in Glory of Legends. And Castle Crashers, they want their shot. Crushing Blow want their shot. They want to be in these title pictures. And they know that they're talented enough and be there in a heartbeat. But both of these tags also know that they need the fans to accept them back in these pictures. That when the fans see someone wrestling frontline, they want it to be someone they recognize, that they know, that they aren't expecting them to be rusty, that they're not expecting them to just ride off their solo successes. And it's for that reason that Crushing Blow and Castle Crashers are at it tonight, continuing a feud, okay, and making a huge push here for just absolute dominance in this very hype tag division. Castle Crashers want to win it for the people. Braden Castle wants to win it after so many big matches where he's come up just a little bit short. And Crushing Blow, Ume Saru having lost belts, having had to give up, huge win streaks, they're looking to bring it back tonight with Crushing Blow. So you're seeing 2 infamous tags, massively powerful tags when they've wrestled before, go at it in a match that in any other world 10 months ago, 9 months ago would have been for the tag belt.
Look, I mean, these are both incredible tag teams, right? Like Castle Crashers, they were former champions. They have everything it takes to become champions again. Crushing Blow, incredible individual performers. I don't know how sold I am on them as a tag team because I think that happens relatively rarely, but there's so much individual talent here against most tag teams. It's just not going to matter, right? It's the Throne of Bone situation that we talked about in my card, right? Like at some point, individual talent is enough to take advantage of opportunities. So I would not be surprised by either button if you told me to click it. So, which one am I clicking here? Who's getting the win?
It's going to be Castle Crashers tonight. They're utilizing that tag prowess, the thing they are known for the most, and they are bringing it back. They're getting that big win. Braden Castle has a absolutely star-studded performance, and it's very clear by it shows in that elim. He is the one to drop Ume. He is the one to drop Korosaru in a 1v2.
Mm-hmm.
And DJ, does enough to keep his brother in it, but it's all Braden tonight.
It's a well-deserved win for Braden here. Look, he battled back after DJ got eliminated early as far as the game is concerned. And oh, look at that, DJ Castle, your first holy shit moment of the night as he puts Korosaru through the announce table with an elbow drop from the top rope. You'll love to see it. As a guy who loved Castle Crashers' reign, I'm happy to see them do well in this moment. We will see what that translates to. Because we're about to go into another tag match, this time a triple threat elimination match between Blot Out the Sun, Flame Regiment, and Oda's Revenge. And correct me if I'm wrong, Xander, but I believe we have a blow-off in this match.
We sure do. All right. You have a triple threat tag match. You've got the friendly contest that has been one of our most hype offerings in this tag division between fellow Juge members, Blot Out the Sun, and Oda's Revenge. Now a reminder, in the last big match between them, Oda's Revenge were the ones to take the hit so that Blot Out the Sun could make that move and become the tag team champions. They have not wrestled together since then, but Blot Out the Sun lost that belt. They lost that match. And so tonight, this is either way, Juge is looking to secure the win. Both of them, of course, want to be the ones that close that feud out, that friendly contest to determine the leadership within Juge. Whoever is the winner gets that title shot. They get to make those tag moves, and that has been the cornerstone of that faction. But also you have Flame Regiment here. You have the two members of Burn It All Down. You've got General Hayashima and Wijaya, who have put the hurt onto both of these tag teams before. Now, Oda's Revenge was the one to get a little bit more of that bad end from Flame Regiment. But Flame Regiment in their organizational match and in the other match that they won, it's been pretty impactful. So the question is tonight: are Oda's Revenge and Blot Out the be so focused on their blow off that they both end up losing and Flame Regiment comes out on top? Or are they going to close out Flame Regiment immediately so that they can give the fans what they came to see, and it's a hype tag blow off between the two of them?
Now, look, if this was me, I would be looking at Blot Out the Sun because they are the former champions very recently. They still have a feud against Flame Regiment, right? So if you give them the win, you're furthering the Flame Regiment storyline. You have them continuing to look strong after having lost the belt. I think the upside of that is very clear. I do think it has to be between Blot Out the Sun and Oda's Revenge because ultimately, as much as Juge like fighting against each other, I don't believe Juge are willing to do so at the expense of letting Burn It All Down get a win. But I'm looking at my notes here, and I think you're going in a different direction, and I'd like to hear your reasoning.
Listen, the other narrative that you didn't call out there, and I love what you painted with Blot Out the Sun, but you forget that the guys who have taken the hit for their tag partners are given an opportunity here. They can now be the ones in the title picture. And as good as Blot Out the Sun were, it's the time for Oda's Revenge. It's the time for Kaiman and Yuji Onishi to make their move and become the preeminent tag within Juge, give themselves that shot at the belt, and make something happen.
I mean, look, that's the direction you've taken it. It does level up your friendly contests, so that's obviously nice to see. It is a 4.5-star match, so clearly the fans are in. It says a lot, right? Green Arrow eliminates Wijaya and General Hayashima early, so this is indeed a match between Blood at the Sun and Oda's Revenge at the end of the day. Both both tags kind of agreeing, well, we can't let Flame Regiment be the ones to end this story between us. You run your company the way you want. I'm not going to tell you how to live your life. I do think if it was me, Blot Out the Sun win that match every time. But you've given it to Oda's Revenge, and now I am looking to see how you take a 4-10 tag team and make them a legitimate threat for the title. Obviously individually there's some good stuff here, but it will be interesting to see how the tag itself makes that next step. But for now, we move on. And I mean, what are we seeing here? Because I got to be honest, you have taken a segment that I understand very well and taken it to a scale that I'm not sure I understand as well. So I'm just giving you the floor. What are we seeing here tonight?
Listen, you've got Kanoto Karius, who are looking to hurt the members of Burn It All Down.
Mm-hmm.
And it just so happens to turn out that Burn It All Down are hosting a party. All right? It's really still a meeting, but a party at none other than Jaya's residence.
Ooh. I see.
And Kanoto Karius say together, there's one thing that Burn It All Down would never expect. Because they are the predator. They are the ones that are always on the hunt. They are the ones always coming up with the schemes to hurt people. But Burn It All Down also love to do it in the ring, and they forget. They forget what Kanoto Karius is. We are marauders. We are bandits. We are the terror in the night. And as the party reaches its peak and everyone's getting a little drunk, little scuffle breaking out between Vince and Sebastian, Cassidy kicks open the door. And everyone turns and looks kind of stunned. And Cassidy's got his guitar with him. And he strums it once or twice and says, "Are you bitches ready to party?" And then he turns and cracks General Hayashima right over the head with it. And it's going to be an absolute brawl breaking out with the members of Kanoto Karius flooding in and putting hurt onto the members of Burn It All Down who are drunk, not paying, a little wasted, and Kanoto Karius just doing what they do best, finding a great opportunity, a great moment. And Vinland Saga, of course, there to soak in the glory as they, really put the screws to everybody.
Yeah, I mean, look, Kanoto Karius going for revenge here, taking on Burn It All Down. I love the storyline here with them going on the attack. I feel like that's the right angle for Kanoto Karius. Just real quick, from a timeline perspective, when is this happening? Because I'm going to hit this continue button, and Vinland Saga is about to be in the ring.
This was the previous night. This was pre-recorded.
This was a pre-recorded previous night segment. Okay. Yep. That is very fair. I have to imagine that is going to color a lot of this final match we have here tonight, your main event in a card that, I got to be honest, has a lot of very nice scores going on at the moment. Vinland Saga defending their ravaging Marauder contract against Set Fire, who have to be furious at this indignation from the home invasion, and Didymos, who are also here.
Yeah, Didymos, who are also here. Yeah, correct. Listen, so Didymos hyped up, of course, by, Hueso earlier. Christian Quinn, Ryan Fox here to represent Police Demos, and really they are looking to do something big. They haven't gotten a lot of wins, but they know their only shot at even being in the title picture at all is to get an upset win over Vinland Saga. So that explains why Didymos is here. But let's be real. The real discussion tonight is between Vinland Saga and Set Fire. Vinland Saga last night
or the 2 nights ago, let's say, brutalizing members of Burn It All Down at their party. Okay, the Ravaging Marauder contract holders, turns out they were Ravaging Marauders. Okay, and Executioner Goro, who notably was absent during that point in the night, had already taken off, is here with Sho and Krieger, who were there and who did take quite a beating. Now, obviously, Sho already wrestled tonight. He's a little bit tired.
Yeah.
But he has promised Executioner that they are here to embarrass Vinland Saga. And Executioner tells him, Sho, you perform tonight, or you know what happens. I don't care about the win you got earlier in the night. This is what matters. This is our time to remind these puny little Konodo Karius faction members where their place is. And Krieger, you are here to bear witness. You are here to be the voice of Burn It All Down. When I return and have to focus on my plans, you will continue to remind everyone that Konodo Karius are nothing but low-life scum that have no plan, no meaning within Glory of Legends other than to pick on the weakest factions. And Executioner turns to Didymos and says, Tiny Faces, I am sorry that tonight I will have to hurt you. You should not be in the ring as us. You don't belong here. And it's only because Konodo Karius have dragged you in here that you're even right now. But don't worry, because when I take the belt from Johnny and I become the Emperor, you won't have that problem anymore because your faction won't exist. No one that low will even be a consideration. And that is my mercy to you. And he turns back. Vinland Saga, tonight you burn. And Wolf and Bear look at each other. And they just start to laugh and laugh and laugh. And you see Executioner gets red in his face. He is on fire. And Bear turns, well, brother, is it time? And Wolf turns, oh yeah, it's time. And the match begins.
It is time indeed. And look, I'll be honest with you. If Sho Fujino was not tired from his match earlier tonight, I'd be saying Set Fire was most likely to win. Burn It All Down with Executioner Goro in the ring, an incredibly strong faction. Konodo Karius has made some moves, but that is a new level for them. But they did have Sho Fujino in the ring earlier tonight, and Executioner Goro, it sounds like perhaps Bear Winter and Wolf Klein got under his skin. I think it's safe to say Didymos are not winning this match. I am predicting Vinland Saga based on the story that you've built here. Am I right?
You're damn right. It's going to be Vinland Saga winning tonight. And 4 3/4, okay. Not bad. I'll take it.
4 3/4 is very good, especially because this gets the Vinland Saga Didymos feud hot. It gets the Bear Winter Sho Fujino feud hot. It gets Vinland Saga versus Burgundy Bandits. That is fascinating. That must have been from the home invasion, which is kind of funny. This interfaction feud. They were all partying, and somehow Burgundy Bandits managed to piss them off. It is a holy shit moment, of course. Bear Winter suplexing Executioner Goro from the apron through a table outside. That's 30 creativity points. It's a nice experience boost for the Ravaging Marauder contract. Any final note you want to end on here from a story perspective before we see your final score?
Listen, Burn It All Down's pissed, okay?
Yeah.
Executioner Goro grabs Sho and drags him, as we have seen him do with Burn It All Down members before, out of the ring. Vinland Saga are feeling great. You know, the home invasion into this, they look pretty scary right now.
Yeah.
And I will say that, you know, Serpentine, despite, you know, cleaning up his wounds, getting treated by the medics in the back, he's taken notice. And he knows that Vinland Saga is a storm that's coming. And the only way that he'll even get to weather that is if he can first keep the waters on Jolly Roger at the coming pay-per-view.
It is going to be a tough battle for Frontline, but you can celebrate a 4.75 star card. You are joining me
I'm lucky
on this journey. I have to imagine that's you rounding down and me rounding up, because I think you had a much more consistent card than I did. But yeah, a lot of 4.75s and 4.5s along the way. I had a couple matches that were above 5 stars, balancing out the 4 stars that got counted. So you and I both find ourselves at 14.25 stars, and it all comes down to the Campeonato de Luchasaur. Either Eduardo is going to get 4.5 stars, tie us, and it's going to be a 3-way half-point gain, keeping everything exactly where it is, or Eduardo's going to get more than 4.5 stars, and he is going to earn a full point and push everything on to the next pay-per-view in an opportunity for him to take second, for me to tie you in first and somehow give Walter the win, because that's the rules we've created for ourselves. Yep. But if he gets less than 4.5, who knows? I'll be honest with you, I don't see that coming, because he has quite the card in store for us tonight. Are you ready to see what Destination has in store for us?
At this point, I win either way, so I'm actually just genuinely excited for Eduardo's card, see what he's got, see what cool things I can steal from him for Season 2 for the weeklies, and yeah, it should be a good time.
Yeah, I am also excited, though less for your safety and more for just the cool stories that he's been working on, because he has 12 slots, unlike the rest of us. And he starts here with something that'll be very familiar to you. It's a reveal manager segment, because as we know, El Arcángel de Fuego has been slowly but surely becoming the manager for everyone in La Sagrada Familia. And Gabriel Rivera was really the only holdout, right? There was a question like, oh, are they going to work together, given Gabriel Rivera is a face and El Arcángel de Fuego very clearly not, as of his vicious beatdown a couple months ago. But at this point, you know, El Arcángel de Fuego comes out and says, look, Gabriel Rivera has proven himself. He's proven his potential, reclaiming his Campeonato Antu championship at Dying Light. He has shown the world what he is capable of, and I am going to ensure that this man's reign lasts a long, long, long time. And Gabriel, you know, I think there's a part of him that's like, you know, is this my guy? I hope he's my guy. La Sagrada Familia clearly has worked along with him, and he's used to working alongside heels since he is the only face in that faction. But he knows at the very least El Arcángel de Fuego has the skill set, has the experience, has the fighting tactics with the School of the Phoenix. And he has to be feeling pretty good, given the kind of guy he has in his corner.
Yeah, for sure. Listen, El Arcángel de Fuego is, you know, he's just on fire, man. He's on fire.
And you have always said that about him, but
I have.
I do.
He has also always said that about him.
True. Yeah, look, I like seeing Gabriel Rivera get some love too. And I'm very curious, right? Does Gabriel Rivera maintain his faceness amidst all of the heels of La Sagrada Familia? Do we see some face turns down the line within that faction, depending on what the makeup of the Campeonato de Luchasaur looks like in Season 2? A lot to consider.
Yeah, I mean, I think all of us want to keep our faces, right? I don't think having your face ripped off is a good time. So definitely something for you to keep in mind.
Well, Psycho Circus disagrees, as we know, as the mad clowns that they are. And they are up in this tag street fight match against Here and Now. And this is a fight for the #1 contender position. Psycho Circus, obviously the former champions, and they've got a clear line to the title shot, right? No matter what happens, they're going to be in the title picture. But Eduardo has told me that the Guardianes del Pucara Masculino Championship is going to have a very elimination chamber style rule set. So seeding matters a lot here. The closer you are to the #1 contendership, the better seed you have in this match against the Constellation, the later you get to come out and take advantage of some tired wrestlers, right? And here and now, they've had their feud against the Constellation for a while. Obviously, they are going to try to do their best to earn their path back in, despite losing that feud. I believe it was blown off somewhat recently. But Psycho Circus, the former champions, would love nothing more than to reassert themselves as the top dogs of the men's tag division. So, Xander, who do you think got the win?
It better be Psycho Circus. They're psychotic, and they live at the circus, okay? There is no one more equipped to win this match than them. And I know I didn't root for them the last time, but I want to remind you that I have been a consummate fan of Psycho Circus, and it is tonight that I feel like they're getting the win.
Yes, you are coming back to the circus, and this is a good time for it because they are winning the match. It is a 4.75 star match, a hot match to be sure, and a holy shit moment as Psycho was about to hit Kenji Ryota with a finisher before they both collapsed from exhaustion. A really nice win for Psycho Circus. You love a match in which both tags end up being more popular as a result. And it will be super interesting. Eduardo, obviously, a lot of titles changed hands at the last pay-per-view. But Eduardo has proven he is not afraid of switching over titles and taking a little bit of a prestige hit for a really damn good match. So we will see if Psycho Circus, back on the rise, can take advantage of the superior seating they are going to have in this Elimination Chamber match for the Guardianes del Pucara Masculino belt. But
Let's go!
We move on to a new blood segment. The House of Hardcore is inviting 2 more members into the fold. We saw them last week bring in Isamu Masucci. And I think this has opened the floodgates a little bit because Alyssa Rose and XT Gunn are now here. Alyssa says, look, I've been dominant throughout the year, but I'm looking for a new challenge to develop my talent further. I need to be the best. I want to win back my title and keep it. And the House of Hardcore feels like the best place for that, especially now that they've got Isamu Masucci in their corner. And she's very much all about re-achieving greatness with this alliance. And XT Gunn, he's like, look, I recognize how people talk about me, how people treat me. People like Lionel Looney, and he kind of spits on the ground on that one. But I need to prove them all wrong. And for that, I need to train. I need to develop. And the House of Hardcore has some of the best talents in the world. You're looking Poker of Pain, Abatrai, Adora Anderson, Alyssa Rose, Isamu Masucci. I mean, what a group of people to learn from. These are the best talents in this company. They're the best talents in the world. And by the time I'm done working with them, you are going to count me as one of the greatest this company's ever seen. And so that's our segment here. And it's another 5 stars and another huge boost for the House of Hardcore. And I got to tell you, I wonder how Gambler's feeling about leaving because, whew.
Who cares about Gambler? Who cares? Who cares about that guy? He's a random. Nobody.
That's fair. Well, how do you feel about the House of Hardcore as they currently stand?
No, I love it. And especially the fact Gambler's on the out, right? It's awesome.
That's fair. They have removed the one person you would have struggled to get behind and added 2 people you were already well behind. So the House of Hardcore clearly earning that reputation.
Yeah,
and
XT Gunn's going to become the... Yeah, XT Gunn's going to be the hero of the House of Hardcore, and that's fine. I'm with it.
Absolutely. Well, we move on to a street fight match between Davey Airborne and James Parker. This is a new feud because both Davey and James have this high-flying acrobatic style of wrestling, right? You have the fearless superhero, the risk taker in James Parker, and Davey Airborne. I mean, it says it in the name, right? He's a gifted acrobat and a risk taker in his own right. They both are fighting to become the highest flyer in this company and push their own skills even further. This is one of those, this is my style, not your style. I'm the king of this high flying style, and I'm going to prove it by beating you in this feud. So, which of these 2 high flyers do you believe is getting the first win in this feud?
Man, it's a high-flying feud, and you got Davey Airborne in there, okay? And I'm inclined to root for Davey on that front. I don't really prefer to root for Davey or James Parker. But I think I like Dave. I think I like Davey more, and I like James Parker less. So I'm gonna go with Davey Airborne.
Okay. You are not here for our fearless superhero. You are here for Mr. Sky High. And I have to say,
Correct.
if we're talking about an acrobat battle, I think you've chosen wisely. And holy crap, that's a 5 3/4 star match, ladies and gentlemen.
Damn.
Davey Airborne putting on a show. And of course, there's a holy shit moment with a score like that. Davey Airborne suplexing James Parker from the apron through a table outside. That's another 30 creativity points. And Eduardo, I know when he's watching this, he's going to be looking at how many holy shit moments can he get, because he has a tournament in mind. And those require quite a bit of points at the end of the day. So every little bit of a holy shit moment counts. And so far, we're 2 matches in, 2 holy shit moments, and a lot of high scores for this week's episode of Destination. But we move on to an Our Leader segment. Now, keep in mind, Alyssa and XT Gun are indeed out here right now. The game just didn't process that because they joined tonight. But they're here too. And Isamu Masucci gets on the mic and he starts trash talking Shichiro Ishihara. He's like, you are meant to be my greatest rival. You're meant to be the face of this company. But we have seen who you really are and how you are handling your new faction, because you are willing to be a follower. You're willing to just toe the line and do what other people tell you to do. You know what, Shichiro? I am a leader. I found this faction that didn't have a leader, didn't think they needed one. But they see what I'm capable of, my pedigree, my reputation. I told them that I am the one to lead them to the promised land. I am the one to lead them to greatness. And now they are all behind me. And with me at the helm, the House of Hardcore will take over the Campeonato de Luchasaur. And by the time you realize that you've been following the wrong guy in your attempt to build your strength up, to try to match a man like me, it's going to be too late. And there we go. It's a 5-star segment as Isamu Masucci anoints himself as the leader of the House of Hardcore. What do you think?
Should have been XT Gun. No, it's fine. It's good. Good for Isamu.
I feel like in universe, the 19-year-old heel that has like a 3-13 record would be hard to justify as the leader.
Wrong. Yes, wrong. I disagree.
Interesting. Well, I'm very curious to see how Isamu handles
XT Gun should win everything.
Well, that's why he's going to work with Isamu now. It's going to be great. Well, look.
Sure. Isamu's going to turn him into a monster. That's fine. I'm with it.
Yeah. We turn now to a manager promo. El Tigre de Neon comes to the ring to highlight one Amber Manning. And El Tigre points out that Amber Manning has realized her potential by winning the Campeonato Cuyin belt, right? She is Mrs. Persistence. She has never given up, never surrendered, no matter how hard things were getting, no matter how many times she stumbled. Amber Manning always gets back up. There is so much potential in her style, so much passion, such a great work ethic. And I plan to encourage that moving forward. I, El Tigre de Neon, am going to make sure that she has no problem defending her belt this time around. I am proud of the growth that she's made because it is something that has been earned through work and struggles, which is so much more valuable than something that comes easy. And with me in her corner, Amber Manning is going to show the entire Campeonato de Luchasaur just how much that hard work and dedication truly takes you. And it's a nice segment. Another 5 stars here from Eduardo. I don't think he's actively playing quite the same min-max games that you are, but it is very similar at this point. Almost like having those legendary managers is really good.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think it's pretty much the same. He's rocking the segment and running them the same way, but he does have the advantage of that 3-star. So even some of these ones that would be like a 4.25 or 4.5, he's rocking the 5-star with them and getting to tell the narrative with it. So good for him.
Yeah, it's worked out very well. He has found a way to play the game the way he wants while taking advantage of all of the realizations that you've made, and it is a terrifying combination of things if you are me and trying not to fall to third place. One heck of a performance here tonight, but we still have plenty of time. There's still time to see exactly how high this card can go. Eduardo would love nothing more than to score above 5 stars after coming so close last time around. But before we get there, we've got a few more matches and segments on the horizon, including this match, a street fight between Daiwick Damerla and Brady Velasquez. This feud started back on a weekly episode of Destination in September, with Daiwick Damerla striking first in a street fight victory in that match. But Brady Velasquez got revenge on a 6-way street fight victory at Dying Light. So Daiwick got the head-to-head. Brady Velasquez got the pay-per-view multi-man victory. Now, both of these competitors are on the outside looking in to the Campeonato Andino Championship. They have been, the 5th and 6th guy to qualify when it has been a multi-man belt before, but they need to win this feud in their mind to become number one contenders, right? They're both either on the journey to becoming face of the company or damn close. And winning here, getting yourself apart by defeating the other, would be everything you need to set yourself up for a true title run. So the question is, which of these wrestlers do you think is going to pull it off here, Xander?
I think it's going to be none other than Mr. Daiwick Damerla. Okay, El Arcangel de Fuego is on fire right now. Brady Velasquez looking strong. Don't care. I'm behind Mr. Daiwick. Daiwick going to that face of the company status. El Tigre de Neon with him there, pushing him up, making sure he gets this big win, getting rid of that 4-loss streak, and really moving his way, moving on up.
Yeah, look, you know me. I'm a big fan of Daiwick Damerla. I like El Tigre de Neon. So I'm happy to say that you are right. You are right aligned with Eduardo on this card. It's a 4.5-star match, which is still a strong performance, just colored by how good the rest of this card has been. It does indeed get Daiwick above that 1,000 threshold. Of course, the journey doesn't start until the pay-per-view. But Brady also got some points here, which means this was a hot match. No holy shit moment despite the bleeding, but still a very nice performance here, and one that I think is going to really set up the rest of the matches in this feud. And we'll see what Eduardo has in plan for Daiwick at the pay-per-view, because we know he has 2 more slots than everybody else. So we'll have to find out. But we move on to a smack talk segment between 2 people who are on the edge of becoming a face of the company, right? Tyflaw literally just 2 points away. Nightmare Blue very much in striking distance. And, Tyflaw, he comes out and he declares himself the next big thing, right? He's flawless. Always has been, always will be. Those losses don't matter because the process leads to a diamond that is going to shine and take over this company. And Nightmare Blue says, look, you can feign your greatness all you want. I'm the ruler of the Sapphire Kingdom. I already know greatness. I was born into greatness, raised by greatness. How can you be this great hero you claim to be by losing 16 times the way that you have? What about you is great, Tyflaw? And Ty says, look, you may not trust the process. You may be so removed from the common people in your Sapphire Kingdom that you've forgotten what hard work and dedication can give you, how the downs can lead to greater ups. But you know what? I'll prove you and everyone else wrong when I win our next match and I cement my journey as the next face of the company. of the Campeonato de Luchasaur. And he wins the Smack Talk, and it's a 5-star segment again for Eduardo. What do you think of the Smack Talk?
Yeah, I loved it, except for the part where Tyflaw wins it because he's a buffoon and he's going to lose everything.
Look, maybe he wins the Smack Talk to lose the match. We don't know. We'll
yeah, he wins the Smack Talk to get absolutely pummeled. All right, good job, but maybe more effort on your skills instead of your yapping.
I will say a plus 34 to a feud from a single segment is kind of wild, right?
No, that's a great bonus. Yeah.
That's incredible. I mean, as someone who has done a lot of Smack Talks, that might be the highest I've seen from an individual segment. So clearly the fans are in, as well they should be. And Smack Talk keeps on rolling for the Campeonato de Luchasaur. But here we go. This is one I think you're going to know very well, Xander. We have a legendary endorsement segment.
Oh, wow. A legendary endorsement and a manager reveal on the same day?
Look, and a manager promo, which you don't do, actually.
And a manager promo, which, well, yeah.
Pretty good. Pretty good, turns out. Managers have a lot of charisma when they're legends.
Yes.
But look, Jason Cortez has had to struggle within La Sagrada Familia, right? But when you get kicked down, you need to keep getting back up to prove to everyone, including Xander. Eduardo wanted to make sure I called you out in specific on this, that you belong here at the top, because you've been shit-talking him. But you know who believes in him? El Arcangel de Fuego. He says that Jason is the kind of guy who keeps pushing, keeps demonstrating that he will bring as much value as anyone to this faction and this company. And he's going to prove it when he begins his Face of the Company journey after he secures a victory at the next pay-per-view.
Okay.
Final
we'll
Breath.
See.
I believe it's called Final Breath.
Okay.
But yeah.
Yeah, we'll see.
You do not sound fully convinced in our man Jason Cortez here, but
I mean, he's going to prove me wrong, by coming out here with a Glory of Legends strat. Sure. Okay. Cool. Got it. Show me the win. Then we'll talk. Show me the win, then we'll talk. All right.
Yeah. Well, we'll have to wait and see for that one, because right now we have a 6-way ambulance match, and obviously some incredible competitors. We saw Alyssa Rose joining in the House of Hardcore earlier, but Pink Arrow, Juno Ripshaw from the League of Extraordinary Ladies, Ivy Chavez, Suki Akiyama, and Allison Cruzon. And you might be saying, Chase, why are these 6 women in the ring tonight? And I'll tell you the answer. This is a prestige match. Each of these women are contenders with a variety of different feuds, both new and old, in play. And Eduardo basically said, you need to prove yourself, right? You need to defeat all of these other competitors if you're going to prove that you should be a top title contender at this pay-per-view, especially with the greatest championship, the tournament coming up. This is jockeying for seeding, right? This is setting yourselves apart, building the reputation that you are indeed the greatest and deserve those opportunities. And man, oh man, is it a star-studded list trying to set themselves apart. I mean, who do you think, looking at these 6 incredible female competitors, jumps out to you as the clear choice to win this match?
Listen, there's only a couple of people that jump out to me to win this match, okay? Chavez is someone I think could come out and get like that come from behind victory, okay? Mm-hmm. But I don't think it's going to be her. I obviously think we're looking at Alyssa Rose and Juno Ripshaw as the 2 that are the most likely to take this dub home. I will say there's one other person I would really like to see win. And no, it's not Suki Akiyama or Allison Cruzon. It is none other than Pink Arrow. I'd love to see Pink Arrow get the solo win here with all of these talented women. I don't think it's going to happen. I think it's going to be final answer, Alyssa Rose.
Man, you've been doing so well at predictions tonight. I believe you've correctly predicted every match to this point. And if you'd followed your heart, you would have picked another, because Pink Arrow does win this match. Pink Arrow with the win. It's only 4 1/4 star. It's going to get dropped. That's fine. I imagine he must have low rolled on the ambulance. He didn't. Okay, I don't understand then. He got a holy shit moment, so I guess it's fine. Pink Arrow hitting Alyssa Rose with a lariat that knocked her head clean off. That starts a feud between the two of them, as well as we have a new feud between Allison Cruzan and Suki Akiyama. But yes, this is a Pink Arrow victory, and that 56 popularity is going to go a long way. Now, if you ask me, Chase, how does a match with nothing but 4-star workers with a positive trait bonus, a holy shit moment, and a hot match only get 4 1/4 star? I don't know, man. But I can say the Pink Arrow is now just 25 points away from becoming a face of the company, and I have to imagine you're thrilled.
Yeah, no, I am thrilled actually. I'm very happy that that is the outcome here. Good for Pink Arrow. Great selection, Eduardo. Okay, well done. This is an actual applause. I'm clapping. Hope you can hear it through the mic. And yeah, so far so good. Keep it going.
Well, we will keep it going. Indeed, we have just 2 segments left, including this one here. Lionel Looney and Razor Jackson have come down to the ring. And it is, the two of them are kind of expected to get on the mic and trash talk each other, somewhat similarly to what we saw with Ty Flaw and Nightmare Blue. But the two of them get in the ring, they see each other, and they decide it'd be more fun to clash a bit instead. And the two of them start to just duke it out. Like they're just having a match right now, despite the fact that there is no ref. The bell has not rung. They see each other in the ring and they can't help but fight. And Eduardo himself comes down to the ring to remind them that that's not what they're here to do tonight. And they look almost disappointed as they are forced to go their separate ways. And apparently you just can't keep these two near each other if you want to keep the show rolling. And also, 3-star charisma, not enough to handle an epic brawl, unfortunately.
Unfortunate.
But it's okay. That and the Pink Arrow match are going to be dropped. Look at how many great matches we've had tonight. It is all going to come down once again to our main event. And Eduardo has told me he feels cursed with his main events. But he, I think, has a lot to offer here with the Guardianes del Pucara Femenino Championship match. This is an I Quit match between the champions Phantom Troop and the challengers Lethal Tempo. Now, this is the longest running feud in the women's tag division, Xander. This goes back to Retaliation in April when Lethal Tempo won the Guardianes del Pucara Femenino belt themselves. They couldn't hold on to it for very long. Phantom Troop eventually secured some tables matches in May and June as they both fought to get themselves back in the title picture. Phantom Troop got the individual lead, but Lethal Tempo were the ones who once again took the title back by beating Bittersweet at First Blood in July and defending it against Phantom Troop in August in a ladder match. But since then, it has been all Phantom Troop. Phantom Troop won the belt in a ladder match at Burn It Down in September and then defended against Lethal Tempo, Dominion, and occasionally Bittersweet at Spirit Fury and Dying Light. Now, Lethal Tempo, of course, want their belt back by the end of the year. They want to prove they weren't fluke champions, that those 2 shorter reigns are not indicative of their potential. With a belt that has gone back and forth more than any other, I think, across all of our promotions. But they're running out of time to do so. This is not the blow-off match. I will tell you that right now. But it is the last match before it must be blown off. And Phantom Troop want to hold on to this belt and prove that they are the ones, the one tag team in this company that can actually hold on to a belt for more than a few months before dropping it again. Do you believe in a Lethal Tempo upset, Xander, or are you?
I don't. Phantom Troop.
Yeah, the weekly right before the Gold pay-per-view. Oh no, that is a 4-star.
I'm just happy to see Eduardo get low rolled a little bit after all that he did. Okay, card was great, but feel my pain, Eduardo. You're still gonna win, but
I mean, you of all people, with all of the artifacts that you have, should not legally be allowed to complain about low rolls.
I said low rolls, okay? Not unfortunate other mechanic rolls.
Do you think those aren't rolls?
About low rolls in the weekly card. All right, I'm talking about rolls in the weekly card. Okay, and Eduardo has been winning lately, and I expect him to still win this with a 4.75. All right.
Yeah.
But also the fact that the last match, which I have had low rolled on me like 3 weeklies in a row or 4 weeklies in a row, I'm not feeling. I'm smallest violin for Eduardo. I don't care about my small violin. They can both be small. It's fine. Both can be true.
We have all had some low rolls this month. None of us have reached the lofty heights that we did in the 10th set of weeklies. But it is a 4.75 star. That does bring Eduardo to 14.5. That means Eduardo wins the weekly and takes his overall points total to 7.75. I am at 8.5, which means if Eduardo wins the pay-per-view, he overtakes me. You are at 9.5, which means that if I win, we would be tied. And, you know, in a league that makes sense, we would then go to a tiebreaker of something like, I don't know, most points scored over the course of the whole competition. But you and I made an agreement that if we both tie, the only rightful winner can be the narrative champion.
Correct.
So we have a lot in store. And of course, if neither of those things happens, or if Walter wins, which is technically possible,
then
Xander walks away as the winner. That is an unfortunate reputation decrease for the Stamford Wrestling Alliance. Just a really nice show for everyone here tonight outside of the SWA primetime. You did beat me in hype substantially, as did Eduardo. Maybe he would have had more of a boost had he had a higher base value of fans to jump off of. This all feels right, though. We saw with my card some clear downs and ups to get where I ended up. But Eduardo.
Well, I won in hype also because, I mean, even though he won overall, but we were all 4.75 this week. So
absolutely. Yeah, no, this week it was a tie ball game. We needed to make up ground, and Eduardo did so well with the early part of his card that became basically impossible. But that just means our gold pay-per-view stream is that much closer, that much tighter at the top of the standings. You're not going to want to miss it, folks. So please make sure you are following us at twitch.tv/redshirtking. You want to be there on Thursday, May 2nd at 5 p.m. Pacific time. We are starting an hour earlier than we usually do because this is a gold pay-per-view. There are a lot of matches that we are expecting. And now there may be a tournament episode between now and then. So of course, stay subscribed to this YouTube page and be sure to be on the lookout for that. But you won't want to miss that pay-per-view stream. So definitely stay tuned for that. In the meantime, Xander, where can the nice people at home find you if they want to follow you?
First, real quick, just because I want to tag on to that. Okay. Make sure you tune into this gold pay-per-view. All right. Twitch.tv/redshirtking. Make sure you like and subscribe, all the good stuff, because you're about to watch me crush these nerds and take home the first ever dub for the end of a season. You don't want to miss it, much to Chase's dismay. Now, beyond that, of course, you can find me on all socials at Tentacle Coach. You can also, please go support Brooklyn College Esports. I am the director there. The students have worked really hard. The season's wrapping up, but we got more stuff planned for the summer and for the fall at CUNYBC Esports on Twitter, and Brooklyn College Esports on Twitch and YouTube. Go check them out. Thank you so much, and I look forward to beating Chase very soon.
Well, we shall see if that is indeed the case. I would love to play spoiler here, and I think I've got quite the card planned, so we will see how it all shakes out. We will see what Campeonato de Luchasaur has in store. They've been the ones setting the tone and the pace at a lot of these recent pay-per-views, so anything is possible. You can find me at Chase Wessner on Twitter. You can find the podcast that this whole thing is built around at Rough Drafts Pod on Twitter, at Rough Drafts Podcast on B-Sky. I'm at Chase Wessner on B-Sky and Twitter. I prefer B-Sky. It's less nightmarish from a mental health perspective. but we would love to have you check out our shows. We just did a great 4-way episode on Godzilla X Kong: A New Empire with friends of the pod Justin and Sky. So check that out. It's a great time. But we will be back for the stream on Thursday, 5 p.m. We'll see you there. And until then, goodbye, Internet.